Yes. We are back for our Star Trek stream, guys. It's pretty exciting. And what's really exciting is that there was an electromagnetic storm last night. It caused all clocks in the world to be 25 minutes fast. So we're starting this perfectly on time, guys. Well done. Give me five.
To think for a moment, I thought that there was like an actual crazy storm that I just like didn't notice.
There was an electromagnetic one.
I actually traveled back in time to the 90s and hung out with oh god, what was that episode of Voyager, that comedian's name that Tom Paris hooked up with?
I talked about Sarah
Doesn't matter.
Silverman.
Yeah, Sarah Silverman.
There
Yeah,
you
there
go.
it is. Yeah.
Yes.
I think we all did.
We all hooked up with Sarah Silverman in our own way.
There we go.
But we aren't even talking about that one. We should get to the time travel thing at some point. Although we got an interesting episode for the next one planned. But today we're talking about Star Trek pilots and reboots and kind of all the different ways Star Trek has starred over the years, which like going over these episodes, I will say, like, while some of this is good, but like for the most part, we aren't doing with the best Star Trek episodes. But like outside of one glaring example, I don't know if I'd call any of them bad per se. But we'll get more into it. Yeah.
Oh, I've got opinions. This is going to be a fun chat. I'm excited.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Well, I have
I'm
this
going to
whole
opine everyone.
Ooh, nice. I just kind of let generate what after I put all the episodes together. So like we're dealing with like all the first two pilots of the original series plus the first episode aired, and then most everything else is kind of just the first episode aired, except we got soft reboots in Wrath of Khan and Way of the Warriors that kind of counted as well. But yeah, yes, that's everything. And it actually, like, this random loader brought us our first pick here is The Cage, everybody. The original unaired pilot. Yeah. I remember I must have seen this fairly early because I remember watching this back when TNG was on. And apparently it was released during TNG's second season. So like before then, the only way you could watch The Cage was what was featured in the two-parter of The Menagerie, which is the only original series two-parter. We're diving into this. How are you doing, Lindsay?
I'm good, man. I'm just chilling. I got a new light setup I'm playing with right now. Honestly, I had never seen The Cage before.
Really?
So this was a fun little experiment. I'd always heard, you watch Star Trek as much as we do. You encounter the character of Christopher Pike, and that he was like the original captain of the Enterprise and all that. And I've seen the original thing where he's in the wheelchair doing the little beeps. The classic beep chair.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes of Futurama, people are on trial and they're giving their testimony in the beep chair, but like,
oh god, beep, beep. No, my favorite thing was in South Park, the beep chair on there, where like somebody was helping the person in the beep chair across the street, and the cop assumed that they were attacking them, and they asked him, "Was this person attacking you?" And they goes, "Beep, beep." The cop goes, "Ah, yes." It's like, oh,
I forgot about that one. That's a good one. But Christopher Pike, and it was cool to actually see this original pilot. Like, I love Kirk, but this was interesting. What could have been, in a way.
In some ways, almost like a pilot episode to Strange New Worlds, because I feel like, in a lot of ways, like Strange New Worlds was the series that like The Cage set up. Obviously made a lot later with different sensibilities, thankfully. But
that's not to say that The Cage isn't without issues.
Oh yeah, no. Like we were joking about. There's that classic line where the Pike is like, not used to a woman on the bridge, and the way that is clear. Let me clear that up. He's not used to there only being like two women on the bridge. There's only two women on the bridge that time. He's used to that bridge crawling with women. He's like, Jesus Christ, what happened to all the estrogen on here? Like, we need a lot more. What the fuck, guys?
What Pike has always been woke Pike. Woo!
Yes. Our woke king Pike. But outside of that line, I actually, when you watch this and know Strange New Worlds, it's kind of amazing how it does still feel like the same character. Like it still feels fairly consistent. And really, what Pike, number one, and Spock are the characters we really get to explore later. But like,
Mhm.
I think overall, I like this episode a fair bit. I don't know if I'd quite make it S tier, but like I do like it. I think it's a solid pilot. I'm kind of surprised they didn't pick it up, but we'll get into the second pilot here actually decently soon. But
This episode,
yeah,
to me, I feel like is probably like A or B.
yeah,
I think that it's like I don't think it's S tier, but I think that
it's
good.
solid. I think
It's
yeah,
solid.
yeah,
And I mean, I think in a way I also sort of kind of appreciate it, coming from the future and knowing that it spawned off
yeah.
all of these really great
Yeah, this
things,
is literally the original Star Trek. There's no Star Trek before this, which is actually kind of a cool piece of history. Yeah, the cages.
Got a lot of it right. Like they didn't really change that much, really, between this and the actual pilot.
And then the first episode we'll get to as well, where
Right.
yeah, but yeah, I like
I
this.
do want to say when they go to warp is amazing. I don't know what's
I love
happening,
that. Yeah,
but
it
it's
just
so weird. Like it's great.
yeah, it just they're standing around and it's just superimposed. It's like, oh, okay, okay, this is what we're doing. I guess this is 60s faster than light travel. I lean towards A tier on this, or maybe a high B tier, but like I don't know. I'm comfortable with A tier. What are you guys thinking?
I mean, I told you earlier. I think A or B would be fitting.
So A or B. So Lindsay, what
A
do you
or
think?
T.
Yeah,
Well, so I had so much fun with this. Like the opening shot where they zoom in on the ship and then
It
it
is
goes
fun,
into that
yeah.
little
Yeah.
it's just especially for the 60s. Like
Yeah.
they put some effort into this, man.
Yeah, it looks old by today's standards, but like they put effort in. Yeah, they were trying.
Yeah. And like I think like the biggest complaint I have about this, other than like the weird Pike line about ladies, is
Yeah.
that Pike kind of looks like Matt Gaetz if Matt Gaetz looked like a human being. But like that's not really this pilot's fault. Matt Gaetz didn't exist back then. Like
Okay, even with Pike's cringe
Like-
line, he is way cooler than Matt Gaetz. Let's be real. Not even
100%.
close.
100%. I just couldn't escape thinking that the entire time I was watching this. But anyway, A is totally fine. I thoroughly enjoyed this pilot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's kind of a shame it's not what we got, but I like what we got.
I
too,
like
so it's
I
yeah.
like the second pilot too. The first episode that airs, we'll get into it. Not so much though, but like yeah. It's kind of weird. But next up on here is actually the Deep Space Nine pilot, Emissary. And I will tell you guys, before New Trek, this is probably, while it's not the cleanest of the pilot episodes, it's probably my favorite. And when I say it's not clean, it's kind of messy. Like lots of characters aren't figured out.
Yeah.
But I love that they base this episode around a story arc, a character arc for Captain Sisko. And it's a great story arc. They do that really well, which is why I like this one so much, even though it's kind of messy with a lot of the characters. It obviously doesn't know what to do with them. But
I do like the way that they like kind of pass the torch between Picard and Sisko.
Yes.
It's done in kind of an unorthodox way. I think it definitely like sets up Deep Space Nine as being what it would be later.
Yes.
You know? And like as much as I don't think it's perfect, I do appreciate that it laid the bones for that. And I don't think it laid the bones for that in like a bad way.
Yeah.
You know?
I do love those scenes that Avery Brooks and Patrick Stewart share together in this episode. That is like masterclass acting right there. They were killing it. Yeah. Avery Brooks is one of the few actors who can act next to Patrick Stewart and just like give him one more kind of just like yeah.
We'll say I think basically
also it is. Oh, go ahead, Ashley. I'm sorry.
Basically, all of, or at least most of my problems with this episode just come from like very like basic, like it's the first episode, so people don't quite know what they're doing yet. Like, Avery Brooks, as stated before, has a great performance in this episode, but you can definitely hear in some lines that he maybe hasn't quite figured out what Sisko's delivery is. Like he'll sound a bit stilted or something. And that's perfectly fine. It's the pilot. But like it's stuff like that. And I think all in all, it's like it's not bad.
No,
I would never say it was bad.
Like I said before, probably New Trek. This is probably my favorite of all the pilots and first episodes and stuff. And I think it's really good. I love just the story arc of like the whole big story is about like, you know, he's on this space station. They discover this wormhole that makes this space station a key piece of real estate. And all of a sudden there's all these, you know, the Cardassians are coming by and we're like, oh, we want this station back. And that's like key parts of the story. But the through line of the whole story is Cisco, who is just after years still stuck on the death of his wife and grieving the death of his wife. And the through line is him moving on past that. You know, it's like, yeah, still miss her, but like you have to move on. You're still like stuck in this spot. And I love how the prophets who are able to kind of go into his mind are like, they go to the death of his wife and he's like, I don't want to be there. And they're like, but you exist here. Why don't you want to be here? You exist here. And it's such a great character piece, you know, learning, he's learning, they're telling him about himself without even kind of realizing it. And I really appreciate, God, do I want S tier? I kind of want S tier this. I don't know if it'll be number one, but I kind of want S tier it, even though it's a bit messy.
We can move it around later.
Yeah. What do you guys feel?
Honestly, I'm with you on S tier. It is such a ballsy decision to make the lead of your new show hate the lead of your previous show. That
is ballsy, and it works. Yeah, it works. Yeah.
Like, and it's ballsy on top of the ballsy decision of taking a show Star Trek that's about visiting different planets and putting it in a singular location. So it's like high risk, high reward decision on top of high risk, high reward decision, and it doesn't really set up like the war that Deep Space Nine kind of comes down the road, but it sets up
the pieces of the war. Yeah, there are the elements there, the little hintings of stuff that will brew up later. So it obviously doesn't know exactly what it wants to do, but obviously it gives itself a strong like base to build off of. I'd say for me, I think overall the story is very solid. I think the weakest elements are probably honestly Jadzia and Bashir, who clearly they have no idea what to do with their characters yet. And some of the other characters are rough, but decent. Like I think Kira's a little rough, but like they definitely have a plan for her character because eventually we get Duet, and holy fuck, that's a great episode. Holy shit. But yeah.
Also, Kira's hair in this pilot is a travesty. I love you, Nana Visitor. That is not your best hair, girl.
No.
I know, actually, that like really threw me off when we went back and we started doing our Deep Space Nine watch over. And I saw her with that hairstyle. It threw me off so hard. I was like, what the heck? She just looked like that?
Yeah.
And then they changed it next episode. And I was like, okay.
There was actually a random episode that was produced as the second episode where she still has that hairstyle. But like, yeah, it's a pilot and then a random episode, like the third or fourth episode. She has it back. But yeah.
Funny. Okay.
So we're going S on this one?
Yeah. Despite Kira's hair, yes.
Yeah, it's solid. It's solid. And that brings us actually to the second pilot. So essentially, the network saw the cage, and they told G. Roddenberry, no, but here's some notes. If you want to reshoot this with these notes, we'll consider it again. And that's where no man has gone before. This is the Gary Mitchell story. Where he gets super ESP powers, and then I don't remember the name of Sally Kellerman in this episode, but her character slowly develops him as well. And then Kirk has to go up against him. James R. Kirk famously has to go up against him.
We're best friends, but I do not know what your name is.
Yes.
But I'm going to pretend that I do.
This is, again, like, I like the cage, and I like this one too. I think this is, again, an solid pilot. Our introduction to Kirk, our introduction to, I also want to say Scotty and Sulu. Although I don't think they have their normal roles, but they are in this. We are missing McCoy and O'Hara at this point. Spock being the only character that's in all of these, but yeah.
I do kind of like Spock's like kind of, his delivery is just like a little bit different. And I know it's in part because it's the pilot and whatever. And I'm not even really criticizing it because I like kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Like, you remember at the beginning he's playing chess with Kirk, and he's just like, oh, I'm going to beat you, and he just looks so very pleased with himself.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still figuring out
that was kind of great.
Lindsay,
I like that you bring that up because I want to mention about the cage that not my Spock in the cage, but Nimoy is Nimoy. So
Yeah.
like I am whatever he's doing, I'm happy
It's a
with.
little
Like,
off. I was just gonna say I love that moment in the cage where they're beaming down and then just the women transport because obviously the Telosians are doing something. Spock's just like the women. And just like okay.
All of the
Did you also
sprinkles-
notice in the cage that Spock had a limp?
Yeah, there are times where I kind of notice that. Yeah, when he's walking around the planet. Yeah, and I was like, I wonder, like, did Leonard Nimoy hurt himself? They were trying to hide it or something.
I do.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
we'll never know. We'll never know.
Mhm.
But
We'll see.
I think that that Where No Man Has Gone Before is it's probably an A.
Yeah, I lean towards A
it's
for it as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I lean towards A.
It's pretty solid, honestly.
Yeah. And I would
I mean,
like to say, just like
go
as
ahead.
just like as an aside, that I really like all of these random glimpses into Spock when he was younger.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing. Like, hey, we can talk about. Oh, he got really excited when he saw like plants or whatever and stuff. But I also like there's that one episode where they like reveal that apparently when he was a small child, he would just like run off into the woods for a couple days and then he would come back and wouldn't tell anyone anything. And he would just do that like continually.
Seems pretty normal. That's what I would do.
He's so silly.
I gotta throw some props on Where No, because it establishes Kirk as a brawler, man. He's gonna jump on you, he's gonna throw fists, you're gonna rip his uniform, there's gonna be that exciting music.
He's gonna get a man boob. He's gonna get
that's like his thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man boob. Boob window. That's it.
Yes,
he gets boob windows all the time.
I think that there's probably like a statue up of him like that on Earth.
Yeah, just boob window. You're gonna see Kirk's cleavage.
I'm not just talking about Futurama, but there's that episode where they're making fun of Star Trek, and Zach Brannigan gets his whole thing. Very Captain Kirk style.
Well, that brings us to the next one that Tier Maker has decided we will cover, which is Star Trek Generations, the very first TNG movie. I'm not a huge fan, but I don't hate it either. I think there are elements that I love about this. I think Patrick Stewart fucking kills his performance. I think what hurts this movie is that how rushed it was, because it was time, like it was like 3 years since the last movie. The original crew didn't want to come back, so they pretty much hastily like said, okay, we're going to end TNG after 7 years, which is a good run, and then we're going to rush out the next movie like later that year. And so it was all very rushed and cobbled together. I think there's promise with the storyline, but as it is, I do not understand why Soren doesn't just take a shuttlecraft and fly into the ribbon.
Is this the one where, like, at the beginning, Data, like, kind of low-key shouts out non-binary people?
No,
It's
actually,
not?
I think that's Nemesis,
Oh.
actually. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, that was a Nemesis.
I know,
Come on,
I know.
man.
That's at the wedding, I think.
Yeah, it was at the wedding. Oh,
But
wow.
where would I want to put this? I lean towards B or C on Generations, but what do you guys think?
I think C's fair. There's a lot in this movie that I do enjoy.
I know.
I'm not going to completely poopy on this movie.
There's great ideas that I wish had cooked a bit
Yeah.
longer. Maybe just push it off like one more year, release it like a year later, cook on the story a little bit more, and just kind of get it cleaned up. Because as is, it's messy, and plus they could work on props a bit more. Because you can tell there's lots of costume changes, and like they're having issues lighting the Enterprise D, which is actually part of the reason they destroyed it. But yeah.
when the internal lights in your car go out, do you get them repaired? No, you just drive the car into a wall. You get the insurance money. And you go buy a new
Sure. But no, they
Wait,
talk about how like they wanted it for theatrical lighting. It just wasn't built for theatrical lighting. They wanted to make a new ship for theatrical lighting, and it's like, okay, like again, like don't rush it. Like I think it's okay to wait 4 years between Star Trek movies. You don't need to get one out 3 years later. But you know, the franchise was big at that point, so they did want to make sure to get it started.
Was this the one then where like Picard lived in like a very like English Victorian household?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
The Christmas,
okay.
yeah. They where he goes. It's the Christmas
back,
movie,
I
Ashley.
understand that.
Yeah, it's the one with Picard and Kirk, because they do bring back in this the original cast that's willing to come back, which is William Shatner, Walter Koenig, and James Doohan, which it does get funny because the roles at the beginning were written for Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. And that's how come you have Chekhov taking charge of the medical stuff, which is it's silly. It's like, again, guys, just take an hour a year, work on the script. You got, you have James Doohan and Walter Koenig, write stuff for them instead of just giving them Spock and McCoy's shit. Yeah. So, Ashley, what were your thoughts? Because I know Lindsay was saying C, and I was saying B or C.
Yeah, I think it's kind of middling.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad, but it's not great.
Either ranking is very fair.
Yeah. Well, B or C.
I mean, the cast is great. You love it's what's his name is Soren.
I love Malcolm McDowell as an actor.
Malcolm McDowell. Yeah, exactly. The cast is great. I love the Klingon ladies.
The Duras sisters. Yeah.
Oh, that's the one with the Duras.
Right?
Yes, they're so in this. Yeah, this is where they die. Yeah.
Like maybe the Duras sisters puts it up to a B alone, but actually the entire sequence where the saucer section is crashing is like
that is pretty wild. Yeah. Again, like there's good stuff in here. I just wish they'd let cook a little bit more because it's so ridiculous, but it's got good ideas. Just cook this a bit more, guys. So I can settle with B. That brings us to yes, bridge on Kirk. It's the first time the bridge went on Kirk, as opposed to Kirk going on the bridge.
I thought it was that one.
That brings us to Caretaker, the very first episode of Star Trek Voyager. Actually, anybody else want to lead on this one?
I mean, I think Caretaker, I don't really dislike it as like a pilot. I think like my main problem with it almost isn't really its own fault. It's just that I watch it and I'm like, man, would be cool if they delivered on some of the stuff they said.
I know there's cool sets up here, like the whole idea of there being a part Maquis crew, and they do use that here a bit, and then that's almost kind of it.
I know, that was one of the things when I watched this. I'm thinking to myself, how does Chakotay manage to be so boring when this is his background?
Yeah, his background is that he's the fucking rebel. He is literally the rebel. He is doing a rebellion, and now he's just so boring later. Yeah, there's cool ideas set up in Voyager. So like, I don't know. I think Caretaker does okay with the ideas. It just the rest of the series doesn't really deliver on the promise.
Yeah.
I think the if we're judging the pilot episode in a vacuum, which I guess we are.
I think we probably should.
But I think it's a solid pilot episode, really. I think it works for the most part. You know, it does introduce the Kazon as the main villain, and I'm so glad they dropped him because they were a terrible idea for a main villain.
Hair, man, like that hair. Like I don't. What do you? What's going on with that hair?
It's like they're super primitive and just have bad hair, and it's like, And I feel like they could have done like I feel like maybe if the Kazons were actually a bit more advanced, like an actual threat to Voyager, because part of the issue was like the Kazons, their ships were kind of enough to hurt Voyager, but not really a lot. Like, you know, they had to really pile up on them to get the advantage. It's like, it would have been better if they were actually like a threat to Voyager. Now I was also thinking, because it's kind of hinted at later, I thought the idea of maybe making it a super misogynistic culture would have fit nicely. But yeah, like there's ideas there, but like, yeah, they don't really follow through with a lot of it.
I don't remember like the I mean, I know you do remember this. I just want to start up a conversation about it.
Ooh.
But you know the scene like near the end where we got a kitty.
Where Elam?
Oh, Elam.
Yes, where Elam. Where Elam. Where it's the scene between Tom Paris and Chakotay. Please give me my earbud back.
Elam, you're fighting us.
And like Tom Paris, like for some reason, keeps on bringing up him being Native American.
Yes.
He's all like, "Is this your Indian way?" And it's like, bro, what are we doing?
Well, that ended up
like,
being.
I get that he's supposed to be like kind of a jerk, but like, dude.
Well, that ended up being a huge misfire. So like, yeah, they do some Native American episodes of Voyager, and they all vastly misfire. And then essentially what they find out is that like the Native American consultant they had hired to work on the show was a complete fraud. He had no idea anything he was talking about. And so it was a whole misstep.
Well, I will say I feel a little bit better about it knowing that they had a Native American consultant, because from what I've seen, I would have assumed that they were just screwing around.
No, I think the guy was screwing around.
Yeah,
but they didn't know.
I didn't think that they like were being serious with like a consultant.
Yeah, they were trying to be serious in it.
That'll mess you up, especially since they weren't really, quite deep into the internet age where one can just fact check this stuff easily.
What do you think, Lindsay?
So I'm on the same wavelength of this isn't a great representation of what the show becomes. I think the greatest failing that this pilot has is that by the end of it, the entire Maquis crew is in full Starfleet uniform. I think if they had waited a couple of episodes and like you really built the tension, and then like suddenly Chakotay's wearing the uniform, like damn man, that could have been cool. But the fact that it ends with him in the uniforms knocks it off a bit. But I do want to call out some really dope stuff. I love the subversion that a Vulcan is the spy. You would never think that a Vulcan is the spy. That was great.
Well, I mean, there's always the line about how Vulcans don't lie. And I just think it's a great piece of Vulcan propaganda, because you watch Star Trek, it's like they lie all the fucking time. What are you talking about? They are so full of shit.
That is pretty great. I hope that there's like in universe like propaganda movies about how like Vulcans never lie, so it's just ingrained in everybody's brain.
They're like from like the age of like Free. They're like repeatedly shown like these cartoon videos on Loof about how like every Vulcan you meet is like the most trustworthy like saint, like, and they'll never lie to you. They'll always tell you what's right.
I think I will say up until probably New Trek, probably either the animated series or Voyager are my least favorite, because Voyager, more than any other series, like it had potential but doesn't really follow through with it. Right. But I do think Caretaker does an all right job with the setup. I think there is an issue with the reset button. Yes. The issue.
Apologies.
I was just gonna. Well, no. The issue. Voyager's always had the issue with the reset button. It's really frustrating, especially considering the storyline of Voyager. Like Enterprise. Rewatching Enterprise recently, it doesn't hit the reset button really ever at all. Like most of the episodes are self-contained, but like they will, like if they've dealt with something before, sometimes that comes back. Like they encounter the same species more than once, and then the episode where they meet them before comes back, and they have to deal with the repercussions of that. Like Enterprise hits the reset button, but it's not all that often. They aren't dedicated to it, whereas Voyager felt dedicated to it. Which is where you end up with the Maquis. Yeah.
I think one of the most egregious examples of this in Voyager, and it's something that gets joked about a whole lot, is how does Harry Kim never get promoted?
Yes.
He is doing like the most. Every episode that I watch, he's like breaking his back to help them, you know? And then like he's just like an ensign the entire time. Like that's wild.
I think it's worth saying Nog becomes lieutenant before him. Oh my God. Nog literally joins Starfleet, goes to the academy, becomes an ensign and a lieutenant while Harry is in the Delta.
That's hilarious. I was just about to say, like, what is the timeline on that? But yeah, I think Voyager is long gone by the time that that happens.
I want to say when Nog does his thing where he wants to join Starfleet, hey, nope, you're gonna have to get down. You cannot play with that. No. Non-option. But yeah, so Nog does the thing where he wants to join Starfleet, and I think that's very early in Voyager's run when that happens. It's like, oh my God. But yeah, we're judging.
I do love
Voyager.
the passing of the torch. The fact that it starts on D-Space9, I want to call that out. That's such a great sequence. I love seeing Quark.
I love that Quark passes the torch here. Of all the characters, we're gonna have Quark pass the torch. I'm like, that's kind of epic. I kind of love that. I lean towards A or B on this. What do you guys think? I think it's solid. It's not perfect at all, but
maybe go like A, just like on its own merits. Not really taking in like what
the
Voyager
series
became,
might get ranked lower, but I think the pilot episode does a good job of setting up the potential. What do you think, Lindsay?
I think it might be the lowest of the A's.
Yeah.
But it is better than Generations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it needs to be above Generations, but below other things.
Yeah, I would definitely put the Cage and Where No Man Has Gone before it.
Yeah.
I think they're overall quite a bit less messy, let's be honest. But yeah. That brings us
also just a couple of quick things about Caretaker, because like it was a messy pilot, man. They had to recast Kate Mulgrew after they'd already started.
Behind the scenes,
so much drama, and then like there was this whole thing about like Catherine Mulgrew's hair looked terrible on camera, so they had to invent a hairdo for her.
Yeah, it was Genevieve. I don't remember her name.
Bujold,
Boubois or something like that. Yeah, she was cast as a Janeway, and they had filmed quite a bit, and it was not working. And you can look at the old footage and be like, yeah, I kind of see what they're talking about. It's not working. So they had to bring in Kate Mulgrew very last minute, reshoot a lot of this and put together. It doesn't show in the pilot. Like all this behind the scenes stuff doesn't show. Kate Mulgrew feels natural. And as we really learn, especially if you've seen her in Orange is the New Black, Kate Mulgrew, fucking amazing actress. Like she knocks it out of the park. So her stepping in very last minute and selling this as like, when you watch this, you don't doubt that she was there the whole time, even though she wasn't. It works. So I almost want to say, considering how messy it was behind the scenes, almost a point in its favor. But yeah.
Honestly, yeah. Also, if you're a fan of Dragon Age, Kate Mulgrew plays Flemeth, and oh god, did that make me so happy when I was playing that game? And it's like, oh, that's Janeway, that's the dragon.
Yeah. And that brings us, honestly, another really good one. The other Deep Space Nine entry, and the only entry with Elam Garrick in it.
Oh my goodness, Elam, get back here.
He can't. He's gonna chew the earbuds, Ashleen.
Oh,
it'll be troublesome.
It would be bad.
But Way of the Warrior, which if you don't know was meant, it's the introduction of Worf, but was also meant as like kind of like a super soft reboot of the series. So obviously they didn't want to change too much, but it was kind of meant to boost the ratings and help bring over the TNG fans. Be like, hey, here's a starting point for the series. If you haven't been watching, we're bringing Worf over. Here's a starting point. You can watch this and be all right through most of the series. I think it does a solid job of that, honestly. As much as I was a huge fan at the time when this came on, I was just excited to get a two-parter. I think this does a good job of like, setting up like the Klingons as the new antagonists, at least for a short time. Introducing Martok, who is definitely Martok and not anyone else.
That threw me off so hard when we were doing our full watch through. I was like, wait a minute, why did I like this guy? He sucks.
Like as you'd seen some of the later episodes, like I like Martok, then you see this episode, it's like, what's wrong with this guy? What the fuck?
Is this like a ROM scenario?
Yeah. No.
Just like changed his personality.
Well, that's the thing. Like Rom, you could argue his personality kind of changed. There's a point in the episode where one of the episodes where you can where you could say that's where his personality changes. Yeah, it was obviously a rewrite, but yeah. But yeah, there's enough there that you can kind of. But yeah, I'm getting distracted. Way of the Warrior.
Very good.
What are your guys' thoughts?
I had forgotten how many of my favorite moments from Deep Space Nine are in this two-parter.
Dude,
like
there's like
the root beer sequence.
Garrick and Bork drinking root beer. Oh, it's so.
That's amazing. That's like one of the coolest things, and the fact that it's root beer in particular makes me. I'm not even a root beer guy, and it just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And then there's Garrick and Gul Dukat's last stand against a swarm. I'd completely forgotten that was this episode somehow. That's amazing. if you have to repilot something, this is the way to do it, man. You introduce a new character, you up the stakes. The entire world is shifting as this war with the Dominion is on the horizon, but then all these other wars are like happening like as a result of it. So there's tension everywhere. No one trusts anybody. Everybody's in a shitty place. And then Worf comes in. And he's just like, man, I just want to retire. I just shot through generations, man. I just went through that movie. I want a break. And Sisko's like, I've shaved my head now. You don't get a break. And that's the other thing about this episode. Shaved-headed Sisko is...
There's a couple of fun elements, like it's later revealed how well, I think it might even be Ezra mentioning something, but like how Worf is intimidated by Sisko, and Sisko finds out, it's like, wait, I intimidate Worf? And that's like, oh shit.
With an ego boost, he probably felt pretty good right then.
And then there's also Garrick talking about how he was fighting with Gul Dukat, and like how he's like, you know, there are so many opportunities where I could have shot him in the back and ended all our troubles. And Odo's like, you would shoot a man in the back? And Garrick's like, yeah, it's the safest way. But there's so many moments. Like, not only are there great moments in this episode, also inspires great moments later in the series where they go back and reference it. It's a really solid soft reboot. Like, you know, especially in a time period where, like, you know, actually going back and watching the old episodes is rough because you're getting VHSs and shit like that. It makes sense to do like a soft reboot, being like, hey, you can just start watching here. You don't have to fall behind. It does a good job doing all the setup. So, are we talking S tier on
question?
Yeah, I might just be Deep Space
definitely.
Nine pilled, but I'm saying S pill.
Yeah,
S-tier.
I think Deep Space Nine is S tiered as a series. As much as I like all Star Trek, Deep Space Nine is just ridiculous.
Good question before we do the next one. Is it confirmed that Martog is, spoilers, is a changeling in this? Like that's solid?
It's not confirmed in this episode, but it is. It's confirmed at the end of season 4 that he is a shapeshifter. So yes, I can pretty much guarantee you that was the plan throughout the whole time. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. But I asked because that means a shapeshifter presented the blood test to both our characters and the audience, and that's kind of cool. That's kind of a ballsy move right there. I like that.
It's already kind of established. If the shapeshifter is aware enough, they can fake that fairly easily, which is part of the issue with that test. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. This is a great episode. This is a great couple of episodes.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I really am a fan. But that brings us to, I guess, the final original series mention, which actually gets quite a few mentions. But this is the first episode to actually air. So when you're seeing characters introduced here, it's the first time the public has seen them. Even though it's like the 10th episode produced. If people are wondering, the episode that was produced after Where No Man Has Gone Before is actually the Corbinite maneuver, which comes way later in the series. But if you watch as the 3rd episode, it actually makes more sense with Spock's performance and the fact that Uhura's wearing the wrong color outfit and shit like that.
I will say, I want to talk about this episode.
Oh, yes. Tell us about the man trap, Ashley.
I think that the man trap, while not like a very like good episode per se, I
don't hate it, but it's not. It's not a highlight.
I do think, considering the fact that it wasn't really supposed to be the pilot, it does a good job at introducing the different characters.
That is true.
And so, like, I think I would probably like put it in B. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the characters this one introduces. So, well, I guess it doesn't really introduce anybody, but like when you're watching live, it does. So, like, obviously, you get Kirk and Spock, first time people have seen them. McCoy's in this one.
There's Uhura, like,
and Sulu,
and then like
and Rand. Yeah,
and then Scotty's not there.
Yeah, Scotty isn't there.
That was all of like the main cast that was there at that point.
Yeah.
Obviously, no Chekhov, but he didn't show up until later, so I don't feel like.
Yeah, it's
like a
decent introduction to the characters, honestly. The plot line is unbelievably silly with the salt monster. Oh my god. There's so much crap where it's like, okay, this person's acting extremely sus. Why are you believing them? It does start with this interesting premise. I do want to go into this. So, like, when they first show up, the salt monster looks different to the 3 crew members we're following. We're following Kirk, McCoy, and then random ensign dude who's definitely going to live a long life.
I like how
Is he the original red shirt?
Yes. Yeah, he would be. Yes.
Was he wearing a red shirt? I didn't even
I'm
notice
pretty
that as I
sure.
was watching
Yeah.
the episode. That's hilarious.
But like McCoy's like, oh yeah, this guy has married my ex-girlfriend. I had such a big fling for her. So like when they go down, McCoy sees her and it's like exactly as he remembers her. She hasn't aged a day. Kirk sees her and she's still a very attractive woman, but like, she looks her age. She's got some grays. She's not the youngest, but she's still a very attractive woman.
An unnamed guy see her as a lass.
Just this blonde bombshell, pretty much.
Bro, he says that out loud, and it's like, bro. You don't need to say that.
And there are a couple moments where I'm like, we don't need to so McCoy talks about how she hasn't aged a day since he's seen her, how she looks like so young. And Kirk's response is almost like, there's a little bit of gray on her, but she's good looking. But then he doesn't end there. He keeps on going, she's definitely aged a day. I don't know what you're saying, McCoy. She's definitely got some age. It's like Kirk, all you say to that is like, she's got a few grays, but yeah, she's a very good woman. That's all you say, Kirk. Going into how you're wrong, she's definitely looks older. Why would you do that?
I do like how at the beginning of this, we basically get Kirk introduced to us when he attempts to tell McCoy to get this lady flowers way too late because they're already right at her doorstep, and he just gathers up some wheat.
Yeah, it looks like some wheat. He's like, give her this. It's like, what the fuck?
It's truly setting the stage for who this man is.
Just give her some wheat that's right outside her door.
This is a D tier for me. I think it gets better as the episode goes on, but the first few minutes of this episode are kind of unbearable.
I have mixed feelings. There's definitely elements in the beginning that I don't think work, but I like the element where she looks different to all the different crew members, and I had wished they'd followed that up because throughout the rest of the episode, she's just a shapeshifter and looks the same to everybody. Which it's the boring way to take that. It's like, man, there's an interesting story with this. I don't know what you do with it, but there's something interesting you could do with this. But they don't.
And I will say I did like the way that I actually thought that the way that they introduced Spock was actually pretty good. I feel like the thing with Uhura was kind of cringe, but
yeah.
I think I do like the way that they did that, or he's working on the ship and they have that whole thing where it's like, oh, somebody died and he's just like, okay, and Uhura's like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. Would it help the crew if I was out there crying and sobbing? And it's they're both making good points. I feel like maybe a little bit of grieving would be nice for the crew, but Spock's also right. Him bubbling over it would not help anybody.
I mean, he is clocked in.
Yes, yeah.
And he's in charge right now.
I think I definitely like this more than you do, Lindsay. Although I'm not thrilled with this.
Quick question:
because I was leaning B or C on this one. I don't really mean.
Was this the episode where Uhura had the scene where she's like, "You could call me a pretty lady, Spock"?
Yeah, that was what I was thinking of as being kind of
man. Uhura never got the best stuff. I swear.
I know
there's a couple moments in the series where it's like, okay, that's all right, but yeah.
I know that when they set it up and it's Spock and Uhura having this conversation together, I'm like, oh my goodness. Maybe we're gonna have a Uhura character moment, and with Spock, and then it's just oh, I see.
There's two moments of Uhura I remember really liking throughout the original series. I want to say it's the naked time where Sulu is trying to hook up with her, or no, was this Sulu? Yeah, he's trying to save the fair maiden, and she essentially says sorry neither, and it's that's a cool moment. And then the other moment, it's not perfect, but it's when Khan's torturing her, and he's just he's slapping her around, and she's still doing the oh poor woman stuff, which is kind of annoying. But there's a moment where she gives him a steely gaze, and never does she give him anything.
Yeah,
it's that's kind of cool.
I remember liking that too. I was oh,
for especially a lot of the representation of women in the original series, those are some cool moments.
Agreed.
But neither of those are in this episode, although they give her a little bit to do. But yeah. So I know you said D, Lindsay. Do you want to go C on it?
Yeah, I think we could probably.
I
can
do
go C. Yeah,
you know? And then like at the end we can reassess if we feel like it's in the wrong spot.
Which was the episode?
Again, okay, go ahead.
I think it might have been where No Man's Gone before. We didn't mention it, but like the point where Rand walks in, and then she leaves, and he's like, "I don't know who assigned me a woman yeoman, but this is ridiculous," or something like that. And it's like,
I also
wait, wasn't there a moment in where No Man Has Gone before where someone forgets someone's name too, and it's like really awkward and weird? Was that episode or was that a different episode?
I don't remember. It might have been.
Can we take a moment
matter.
aside to talk about the moment in this episode that I forgot about this, but this tickles me, where Yeoman Rand is going up to deliver food to Sulu. We later find out it's to Sulu, but she's just like kind of munching on it a little bit while she's in there. And then like, Salt Monster person comes up to her and is like about to like take a bite. And she's like, no, like, who do you think you are? And you think it's because she's like taking her lunch. You think it's hers, yeah. And then she like delivers it to Sulu and it's like, you hypocrite.
Yeah. So silly. Well, anything we want to add for the Man Trap before we go on to Enterprise's pilot episodes?
It's just such a weird episode to choose to start your series.
Yeah, I will 100% agree. This is, of all the, like, I honestly, like Corp Night, I think won't have been a much stronger episode to start with. Like there's so many episodes, especially of the original set shot, to start the Man Trap. It's like, really?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I like about this episode as a pilot is that it just kind of gives lots of the individual main cast members sort of like their own like scene and plot moment. But like the actual story is just like, it's fine.
It could be okay, but it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
it's not great.
It could have been better.
Yeah,
I think they could have made it better.
I think it's wild. So, like, they obviously had The Cage and Where No Man Has Gone Before. Those things are filmed and ready to go. They could have started with either of those. And I think, obviously, since Where No Man Has Gone Before aired is like the third episode, that probably should have been there first. But instead, they chose to start with The Man Trap. And it's like, really? You definitely had better stuff in the can. You definitely did.
Who knows? Maybe the effects for Where No Man Has Gone Before just weren't quite done yet. They needed to.
Original series is known for its amazing effects.
It took a long
for the time period in TV, it's okay. But
actually, I thought Where No Man Has Gone Before, like you can tell like that it's not like new, but I didn't think it like looked bad.
No,
really,
no, no. And I think it's a decent storyline, which they definitely revisited in Lower Decks, which is awesome. But that brings us to Enterprise Broken Bow. I will be honest, I actually really like this episode. Archer definitely gets a moment or two where he pisses me off, which is one of the things that drives me insane about Enterprise. Is Archer is sometimes just outrageously racist towards Vulcans to the like. There's definitely some bigotry. I like the setup of the bigotry between the Vulcans and the humans. How they like Vulcans think humans are just too brash and going out there, and they might have a point. But at the same time, Vulcans are really suppressing humans and being like, you guys aren't ready, and the humans are like, well, we want to get out there. I like that dynamic set up here. But Archer's obvious racism and prejudice towards him shines through more than anybody else in the series to a point where it's really frustrating.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of my main things with Enterprise is I'll enjoy it well enough. Like it has some of that, epic 2000s cringe.
Yeah.
But it then the main guy shows up.
Yeah.
You think you don't it's just Archer is a person.
Yeah, no, and when you're watching the series, I really like Trip, T'Pol, and Phlox. I think they're even though Phlox has moments I'm not thrilled with them when overall I think the actors give great performances. Archer is really the weak point of Enterprise for me, and he is the lead.
I like Phlox's smile.
Yeah, and the big old CGI smile.
He's silly.
But I think Broken Bow's first of all, I want to point out, like, that's a great idea for your pilot episode. So it's the early days before Starfleet's around, but not the Federation. It's the early days. The pilot is about first contact with the Klingons. Very cool. I think the Suliban had potential as villains. They don't really, it gets really wonky with them, but way better than the Kazon. I'll give them that. But yeah, an interesting idea for villains that like really like genetically engineer the crap out of themselves and can do all types of weird shit. Um, Archer's moment where he is like, I guess to get into it, like there's this moment where T'Pol, like the big moment for Archer for me here is where like they find out that like the Klingon gets taken off the ship and they have suspicion to believe that he's in the Rigel system. And T'Pol decides to say, okay, here's what we know about the Rigel system. And Archer goes, why do I feel like you weren't going to share that with me before now? And I'm just watching this and I'm like, because it wasn't relevant before now. Like what? Like literally, this became relevant. So she told you. She's doing her job, bro.
Isn't there like a point like at the beginning, like too, where it's like before they work together, but he like basically like threatens to like fight her or something?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I'm gonna beat you up.
God damn, Archer.
That scene in particular annoys me so much because it starts great with like T'Pol and Archer having a confrontational relationship. It's establishing how things are between humans and Vulcans, but then suddenly out of nowhere, Archer's like, "I'm gonna knock you on your ass," and I'm just like, "Come on, T'Pol." I mean, it's not T'Pol. It's Enterprise. This is why you have the reputation you do. This kind of weird stuff, right?
I think the relationship, at least the way it's shown there, that really should have been more the baseline is how when you see exchanges between T'Pol and Trip, that should have been more the baseline where like they're definitely giving each other shit. It's not like outright disrespectful, but it's definitely pushing a line, you know. They definitely have issues, but like Archer just takes it to the next level. And it's like, fuck, bro.
I think the thing with that scene though is that it's like, aren't you like kind of like reinforcing like any like prejudice she might have about humans being like over emotional?
Yes,
like going through an emotional conversation where you think that like somebody like doesn't think that you're mature enough and ready enough for it, and go like, oh yeah, well if you don't think I'm emotionally prepared enough to do this, that's fine because I'm gonna beat you up, like bro.
Yeah.
A couple of things I want to call out that I did like in this pilot, though, because there are a lot. I like Archer's Exo One. The Exo One baseball cap. That's adorable. I love that. That is like I love that idea that the captains have hats for their ships. Bobby Singer is just randomly there from Supernatural. He's just there for like 2 minutes in one scene.
Is he like an admiral or something?
Yeah. In the scene where everyone's like, "This is a Klingon." Bobby Singer's just there.
Oh shit! I totally missed that. That's awesome.
He's only got like 2 lines, but yeah, he's there. It's
awesome.
Fun. And I think my favorite part about this pilot is actually something in the credits. It's an instrumental cover of "Faith of the Heart," and it's really, really, really good. And they never used it again in the entire series.
Goddamn Faith of the
Heart. Maybe eventually they did, but I skipped to the credits of like 10 episodes. So I watched like the credits for the first 11 episodes of Enterprise. None of them ever used this cover of Faith of the Heart again, and it's such a waste. It's so good. And you know what? I like Faith of the Heart too. I think the second rendition later in the series is better, but it's bop. I'm into it.
You see, I actually like the second rendition worse, but I'm not a fan of either. But yeah,
I know. You aren't very into it, Dad. But I think it's also because I get the impression it's partially because you witnessed it in like the time that it was in.
Yes.
Like, I feel like me coming in later, I can be like, oh, that's not bad, you know.
Yeah. It felt so much like them trying to be more timely and somehow dating themselves even worse than they were before. Just like nobody listens to this nowadays. What the hell? But yeah, there are elements overall of Enterprise, but also in the pilot that I think really work well. How like these are humans and they just kind of want to get out there. They want to explore the galaxy, and that, in fact, like for the first couple of years of Enterprise, that is just their mission. They just want to explore shit. They want to find out who's out there and say hi. Essentially, fuck around almost. But like, I get it. They want to establish relations. They want to set a footprint. Be like, hey, we're humans and we're cool. Even though they still have issues. Fun fact, actually,
One more
rewatching
thing I
it.
want to call out that's really cute. That
Yeah.
one point they brag, yo, this ship can go warp 4.5. And everyone's like,
Yeah.
oh, it can go 4.5. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's such a great way to date this in
Yeah.
regards to like Voyager and other
Yeah, and
series
Star
that
Trek
always
stuff,
talk
yeah.
about. It's like, it's just so simple. I adore
Yeah.
it. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna be so
Well,
hard
I
to
love-
figure out they can go salamander speed.
I like how they they set they talk about how it's a warp 5 engine, and later on they talk about how yeah, it's a warp 5 engine, but like yeah, we don't really go that fast. We're stressing it out. And one of the cool things they do later is when they do go warp 5, there's like this vibration going on throughout the ship. Like, you know, you get the sense that, oh fuck, you know, it's something they don't like to do unless it's an emergency situation. But like, yeah, you get the sense the ship's gonna just fly apart, which I thought was cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's some of the best stuff that Enterprise did when they played with, okay, we're Star Trek, but with worse technology.
Yeah, just things are way more primitive. We don't know anybody. There's no Federation. One of the things that drove me nuts is that like there's no Prime Directive, obviously, but they still had to like force it in a couple episodes, which was really frustrating because it's like, no, there isn't a Prime Directive, guys. Play around with that, have fun with that. Yeah, Enterprise is at its best where it's actually playing with the ideas it has. It kind of misses it, like it has phase pistols instead of phasers, which kind of operate just the same way. I know it's only 2 settings, but like it's the same thing, guys.
I feel like they could have maybe like put something in there where like it works like worse in some way, you know?
Yeah. It's like, well, we only have stun and kill, and it's like that's pretty much all you do for phaser in all the other series. So
what I was thinking, I was like, is there another one that nobody told me about?
Yeah. I guess there's disintegrate and then like stun harder. I don't know.
Disintegrate extra kill.
Yeah. But overall,
don't forget there's always the tickle mode.
Yeah. But overall, I actually think
at your friends today.
I can be talked into putting this into S tier because I think it's overall very, very good. Archer drives me nuts sometimes, but like it's kind of something they're doing on purpose. But I think this is an excellent introduction. What do you guys think?
I don't know if I'd put it at S tier, but I think like
I can be talked to the A tier. Yeah, I think it's really
I wouldn't
good.
put it underneath A. No.
What do you think, Lindsay?
I mean, it's got a space farmer with a space lever action space gun.
True.
It has to be an A. Like that whole intro where an alien lands in a cornfield.
That is cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I think
yeah.
It's like Voyager where it sets up like lots of potential. It doesn't really meet that potential, although I will say Enterprise does it better than Voyager did. But yeah, it doesn't. It sets up lots of potential in this, and I love the idea behind it. And I do wish we had gotten season 5 because the Romulan War sounds awesome. But
they're cool. That would have been so cool.
Yeah, but we got what we got, and I think the pilot's really solid.
I agree.
That brings us to one of the biggest, like probably the biggest reboot, even though it's still technically a soft reboot. Star Trek 2009, the movie to come out when all Star Trek was dead at that point. So big budget Star Trek movie by J.J. Abrams, lens flare and all.
I know that I'm gonna like have to fight you guys a little bit because
well,
I always do when this movie comes up, but I don't know. I feel like I've stated my opinions on this and why I feel the way that I do. So I'll say it. I think it's D.
Oh, I would not go that. I would not be that harsh with it. But
I am a hater.
Well, I will say, as much as I really enjoyed this movie when it came out and like rewatching it, it is aged quite poorly, in my opinion. It comes off as such a product of 2009, which it's not even that old. And the fact that it's aged so much in that time, it's like, oof. Even though, yes, Uhura is getting more stuff to do, they are still finding weird excuses to get women half naked. So I guess that's left over from the original series.
It's really weird. Like, I am not against there being half naked women and stuff. That is okay.
No, I want to say I'm a supporter of that.
But it's just like the way that they do it is so like odd and unnatural.
Yes, yeah. Lindsay, Star Trek 2009, where are you at?
I do have complicated feelings about this movie.
Yeah.
I think its cast carries it.
Yes, I think the
I
recastings are amazing in this. I mean,
I have no problem with the cast in this
yeah,
film.
it's hard to be upset. Like the main four are incredible. It's so sad that Anton Yelchin passed, but God,
yeah,
is he good in this movie?
yes,
He was very good.
But it's one of those movies that the more you think about it,
Mm.
the more it just kind of it's like a house of cards. It just kind of comes tumbling down. If you just
It's
watch it and go,
yeah,
"That was fun," and never think about it again, this movie's kind of great. But when you really stop and examine it, it does fall apart a little bit. So it's a little middling for me,
yeah.
but that
I do
cast is
love
so good,
I
so
love
good.
Eric
Yeah.
Bana's villain because like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
there's a nonchalantness to a lot of his delivery that I love because he's just in this. It's just a mining ship, but like it's so like advanced to what they're used to
Mhm.
that's like it's pretty much like the biggest warship they've ever dealt with. It's just a mining ship, and I love that, and I love how nonchalant he deals with these people. Just like,
Yeah.
what like. Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero. Just like so, just casual. Just like I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna kill a fuck ton of you people. I love that. There's good elements here. The performances by the lead actors are great. Um, we've never had a bad Spock. We've never had a bad Kirk.
Yeah.
We've
Never
never
had a bad
like
Pike.
yeah, we've never had a
Never had a
bad
bad
Pike.
Pike, no.
Was it Bruce Greenwood here? Great actor. Fuck.
Yeah, incredible casting.
Yeah, I think as a general rule, Star Trek does have very good casts.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I didn't like the Kirk they had in Strange New Worlds at first, but he did fucking grow on me. So
I think that every now and then he needs to pop out though.
yeah. Well, I mean, a point in this movie's favor. I like what Chris Pine does with Kirk here. Like, he feels like an actual character rather than William Shatner occasionally overacting. I'm
One
not
shot in this movie that always
yeah,
gets me, and I just adore, is when Kirk just got the shit kicked out of him, and then Pike's just like, "Get your life together," and
yeah,
then Kirk picks up like a little Enterprise, and he's just considering it, but then it's a salt shaker.
yeah.
There's something about that. It's so stupid, but I adore it. It's such a weird little moment.
I mean,
I cut you off though. Sorry.
no, like all I was gonna say is like it's not aged great, but I'm sorry, Ashley, I am not D tier on this one because I still enjoy it for what it is. Um,
This movie also gave us Star Trek Beyond, which I think is a great movie.
yeah, no, but Star Trek Beyond is S tier in my opinion. That's great in my opinion. I also gave us Into Darkness, which
Worst
is worse
thing
than
to ever
this
happen to
movie.
Star Trek.
Yeah. But
Oh wait, I haven't seen Section 31 yet. I have heard that is quite atrocious, so maybe I shouldn't say that
you know,
Into
I
Darkness
didn't
is the
put that
worst.
on here. I guess that qualifies, but
I haven't seen it.
it's I won't necessarily call it atrocious, but it is not good.
Okay.
It's
Fair.
like if you're looking for a cool spy movie where they're doing morally ambiguous stuff like Section 31 should be, no. If you're looking for an unbelievably stupid and predictable action movie, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
it's got Michelle
way
Yeoh,
like
right?
yes,
Yeah.
it's unbelievably stupid, but yeah. I lean towards B, and I maybe can be talked down to C on this one, but like
It's gonna be the
I
lowest of the
can't do
Bs.
D. Yeah.
Uh,
I think listen, maybe it's just from the time period. Plus, we have to give this one bonus tracks because this resurrected Star Trek. Star Trek was
That's true.
dead when this came out.
That's true too.
You need to understand our mindset. Like you've been watching Star Trek during a period where we have all these series on Paramount Plus releasing episodes. This came out when Star Trek was fucking dead. There was
A few years after Enterprise, like what,
Yes.
3-4 years after Enterprise,
Yes,
or
yes.
what?
Actually, yeah, I want to say 4 years after Enterprise. So, 2009, because I think Enterprise ended in 2005, something like that.
That sounds right to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this, and I haven't even stated why I don't like it.
Go
into it.
I
know you guys know because I've talked about it before.
Dive in.
But I think it'd be kind of funny from a viewing perspective because I'm just like, I've made my statement clear, and then I just never talk again.
No. Like, Ashley, if you want to tear this one a new one, you have the floor.
Go for
tear it apart.
I think the main thing that really detracts from this movie for me, because I think I would be more likely, like, I don't think I'd be super into this film, but I think I would be more into, like, maybe, like, sort of, like, be where we have it now going on.
Yeah.
If, like, just like, the misogyny is so distracting to me in this film.
Mm-hmm.
It really takes me out
and
of
it does not have the same excuse the original series does, which like the original series has misogyny, but, like, you get it, that's the vibe, and you also get that, like, there's moments where you can see it's trying to do better, it just doesn't quite get it. And this one, they knew better. Like,
it's like one of my things. It's like Deep Space Nine came out, like, I want to say, like, over, like, a decade before this, you know?
Yeah,
like,
ended a decade before this.
I know you know better.
Yeah. Deep Space Nine, Voyager, TNG, Enterprise, they were all before this. And they were...
But yeah,
well,
like,
Enterprise wasn't great with the misogyny. There was, you know,
yeah,
like
a little.
T'Pol is a well-written character, though. I will give it that. T'Pol, especially as the series goes on, Jolene Blalock is a better actress than than she gets credit for. Rewatching that series, like, she's really good.
She is good. I do like her as T'Pol. I feel like I do think with Enterprise that was kind of when they, like, stepped back a little bit into you know what became, you know, the treatment for women in Star Trek the movie. Not the other Star Trek the movie, the one that we're currently talking about. And I will say, though, I think you can, like, kind of maybe give Enterprise a little bit more credit in the sense of, remember that, like, one episode where it's like, it's the one with the Ferengis, and I swear Archer is just, like, running around in, like, his underwear for the first half an hour.
That's Trip. That's Trip.
Trip?
Yeah.
Same person. It's fine.
Trip is so much cooler than Archer. Unforgivable.
I should have known it wasn't Archer. He wasn't, like...
He wasn't yelling obscenities about Vulcans the entire time.
Somehow yelling at T'Pol even though she wasn't there.
You dumb unconscious bitch.
He wasn't finding ways to get mad at T'Pol somehow about it.
Yeah.
I want you to know, now I'm picturing Trip and Archer, like, combined together, and it's just like, hey, I'm the captain of this here vessel. Everyone's got good. I don't know what the heck accent that's supposed to be.
It's a mess. It's a mess of a character. Kind of like Captain Archer. Kind of like Well, the crazy thing about Archer, rewatching it, there are episodes where he is based as fuck, and then there are episodes where it's like, motherfucker, just step down. Let Trip or T'Pol command this mission. What are you doing?
Also the doggo.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to say for Star Trek 2009?
I don't know. I like bringing up, though, that the thing about this movie that really, I think, kind of cemented my opinion on it, where they have, like, the scene where he's with the Orion girl, right?
Yeah.
And Uhura's, like, her roommate or whatever, and so she's like about to come in, and she's like, no, like, go underneath the bed. And Uhura just, like, comes in and she starts, like, getting undressed, and they're, like, both undressed, you know?
Yeah.
And he's, like, underneath, like, the bed and stuff, and I feel like that's really, like, the only scene in the film where, like, two women, from what I remember, have, like, a conversation just with each other.
Yeah.
And they're, like, both half naked, and there's, like, a man underneath the bed perving on him.
So definitely does not pass the Bechdel test.
Definitely not.
It's like, it could have, but it definitely doesn't.
There's one line that really bothers me that Uhura has not long after that, when she's talking to Spock, and she's just like, "What do you mean? I've been given a position on the blah blah blah. I should be on the Enterprise, and I should be on the Enterprise because I have demonstrated extreme oral sensitivity." And I'm just like, when you're watching the movie the first time, you're like, okay, that's a weird way to say you could speak multiple languages.
Yeah.
And then you watch it a second time, and it's like, oh, that is just a really messed up line.
Yeah,
like, who wrote that? Like, what is
sexual innuendo for no reason?
I do think the whole thing where, wasn't it, like, Spock, like, was, like, in charge of, like, promoting, and then they're like dating, and it's like, it's weird.
Okay.
It's weird.
Point in this movie's favor, and I think that this is canon in the Prime universe because it's Spock before he meets Kirk, and the big thing that changed this universe really affects Kirk and Starfleet. So I'm gonna say it's canon in the main universe. But like when Spock is joining the Vulcan Science Academy, and they're like, "Wow, it's really amazing! You could join the Vulcan Science Academy despite your disability," and Spock's like, "What the fuck disability are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well, of course, your human mother." And you just see this look on Spock's face, like, you know, that dead face Vulcan look. And he's like, "You know what? I don't want to join the Vulcan Science Academy. I'm going to join Starfleet.
Yeah.
Live long and prosper," which comes off as fuck you. And I love that moment. It's like, because Spock, even in the original series, he has this rebellious streak to him that I absolutely love.
Yeah. I think Spock gets like kind of over characterized. I mean, in universe partially, and also by like some of like Star Trek fandom as being just sort of like this, almost like someone with like no personality.
That
just goes on,
it drives
like,
me insane.
Logic alone, and doesn't like let his feelings go into like anything ever. And I kind of like these moments where you can sort of like see him a bit more clearly.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's part of why I like Spock as much as I do.
Yeah, he is the dry, emotionless Vulcan, but he has a rebellious air to him. He is not actually emotionless. Like, you can tell he's got a personality, and it's pretty fucking cool, actually.
Do you think he would get like kicked off of a Vulcan ship for being too emotional? Like,
oh,
T'Ana?
absolutely.
Like
T'Ana got kicked off. I think Spock would, because honestly, I think Spock is more rebellious than T'Ana.
that was so goofy.
I love that,
because she's basically just standing there like, "Sir, I do not know if this is advisable. Perhaps we should factor in other areas of research." And he's like,
"We will not accept an outburst like that again."
He's like, "We are throwing you out."
But yeah, I just wanted to shout out point this favor because I do love that moment for Spock, and like that's why I say that moment is Prime Universe Spock for me as well. Because like, you know, none of the timeline stuff really affected him at that point, so that's Prime Universe Spock being a badass. Okay, are we ready for some new Trek? Which I don't know. Does Star Trek 2009 count as new Trek? I consider new Trek starting with Discovery, but 2009 is kind of in Kelvin Universe, kind of an in between thing. But yeah,
good question.
Yeah, Star Trek Discovery, Vulcan Hello, and Battle of Binary Stars.
I will say I do think one of the things that's kind of interesting about this episode is the way it kind of like turns on its head, you know, like when I initially started watching this and we introduced like Giorgio and Michael, and I know I was watching it and I was like, man, there was a Star Trek series where Michelle Yeoh was the captain, and we never hear about this ever.
Yeah,
I know. I was watching it and I was like, I like this cast and this setup. You know, this is cool. And then like it all just sort of like turns on its head from there.
Yeah.
I think it's also kind of interesting in the sense that it's one of the Star Trek shows where it's maybe like a little bit like less ensemble and it follows on like a specific person, and that person is not the captain. Or I mean, I guess she becomes the captain later, but she's not in this episode.
I think there's lots of inconsistencies with Discovery, especially with the first season. Even though I overall like Discovery, I think Discovery's a totally solid show. While I don't think it's one of the best Star Trek shows, definitely not one of the worst either. And we'll get to some of those as we go. But I think the pilot episode it's a solid setup. I kind of wish we had a series where we followed Michelle Yeoh's starship for a little bit longer with Michael Burnham as the first officer and Saru there. Cool. I wish we'd had that a bit longer. But I
liked that.
as this is, I do think this is a solid setup. You know, starting this Klingon war. Say what you will about the new Klingon makeup. I always argued that while the Enterprise I think it's multi-part that describes what happens to Klingons. I think that's a totally decent multi-parter, but I kind of think it's completely fucking unnecessary because I think Deep Space Nine explained it the best way, just like we aren't going to talk about it. And while I'm not a huge fan of the Klingon makeup change, I don't think it's like, you know, damning for this at all. I like this. I might go A tier on this one. But
Yeah.
what are your guys' thoughts?
I think A is very fair.
Mm-hmm. Lindsay, what do you think?
I think my big question is this another Voyager situation? Or is the Vulcan hello and the Battle of Binary Stars, is it a good representation of what Discovery becomes? Because like it gets so
it's a mixed
different
bag.
after these
It's
two
a
episodes.
very mixed bag.
To
Yeah.
be fair,
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I, at least when I was ranking Voyager, Caretaker was sort of doing it for like what it means, like
Yeah.
by its like I know we talked.
We
for
can
a while
talk
about how
about, like-
Voyager was disappointing, but like I at least when I was ranking it was just doing sort of like on its own merit, you know.
I do feel like we're ranking them kind of in vacuum. We can talk about the later on, because I do feel
Fair.
this sets up something cooler than what we get, especially in Discovery season 1. I do think season 1 of Discovery is wildly inconsistent, although probably not the most inconsistent season 1 we're going to talk about. But I think the pilot's decent.
It's okay.
It got me interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's S tier, but I do think it's really solid. I do we want to go A or B on it?
I'd maybe go with A.
What do you think, Lindsay? What's your vote?
I think I'd be leaning more towards B on it, but it is really good. I love me some Michelle Yeoh. I love me what's his name playing Saru. I feel bad. I can't remember anyone's names
Doug
today.
Jones.
Doug Jones. Yeah, Doug Jones.
Yeah,
He's so
he's
good.
great. He's always great. I was excited to see him in the cast, honestly, because I was like, oh, I love Doug Jones.
Absolutely inspired casting. His little clicks are just so good with Saru. So like low A. I'm okay with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll go low A. Okay.
Keeping the S, Deep Space Nine.
yeah, no, we are.
We don't have a show that we like more than the others. We don't.
Well, I will say I do think there's at least one more S tier coming up for me, but I will say it's not this one. So now we're going to Short Treks, which I don't even think I've seen all the Short Treks. Short Treks, I think, is a great idea. Just like, just little mini Star Trek stories, maybe stuff that like you can't flesh out to a full episode, but like we can do like this little side story. And I think that's a great idea. And there's a couple that are really great, but it's mostly just forgettable garbage. And I'm really disappointed with this series overall.
Can I
Spoiler
something?
alert.
I watched a couple of these for this. I don't remember any of them. I don't remember the Runaway.
The best one is the Tribble one that comes up later because it has H. John Benjamin and he's great. That's a great one. But
that one's very fun.
But most of the other ones, it's like I think I maybe have sat down and watched all these because like you can probably watch all these in like 2 hours easily.
I think we at one point tried to do that. I don't remember if we went all the way through or I think we at least
not
watched
very long, but like
decent amount of them.
So much of them are kind of just bland and forgettable. And guess what Runaway is? Bland and forgettable.
Yeah. I kind of forget that Short Treks exist sometimes.
Like I don't like in a lot of ways I think the Man Trap is better, but like the Man Trap's actually memorable, which makes me actually maybe think about playing Runaway in D because it's like there's nothing noteworthy really about this. This is Tilly meets this alien woman who's stowed away on the ship.
They get snacks all over the place.
Yeah, and it does play a role, I think, in that season of Discovery, but like I almost feel like this is almost like a B plot or deleted scene that they kind of threw together and kind of watching it, I feel like
subplot that they just tried. We have the footage. And we should do something with it.
Yeah, and then watching it, it's like, yeah, I get why this is deleted, guys. It's just not noteworthy. Okay. It's blah. It's not bad, but it's just unbelievably blah. What are your guys' thoughts?
I don't remember it. I've got none.
I get it. It's tough. Like I had to rewatch it because I was like, I know I've seen this, and I rewatched it. I was like, oh, I have seen this. And I just don't care.
I feel like this is one of those ones that's almost like kind of difficult to rank because like it's Short Trek, so like how like they can't really like set up anything, you know? Because it's not Short Trek's almost like it's technically a Star Trek series, but like is it really though?
I think it is, but yeah,
is it really?
I mean,
I think this is our first detail, dear.
Yeah.
Whenever it gets brought up in like the same sentence as like Strange New Worlds and like Lower Decks, I'm like, what?
No, I think if we're counting as a series, I think Short Treks is unfortunately one of the worst Star Trek series. Because it's not because it's like egregiously bad. Because there are a couple of examples of egregiously bad, but there is it's just so fucking forgettable for the most part. Like a lot of this stuff is it feels like deleted scenes, and you watch and it's like, yeah, that was probably deleted for a purpose. I do not care. There's a
Is it
couple of
all
fun ones.
Discovery? Is it like, does it ever like
No.
go off and do other things?
There's Strange New World stuff. It does other stuff.
Okay,
Like
okay.
the H. John Benjamin Tribble one is almost like just its own isolated story. It has nothing to do with any of the series, and that's probably the best one because it just feels like they had this idea for a script. It's not a full script, but it's a fun idea, so they shot it, and it's a fun one. Yeah.
If you are going to watch any Short Trek, I think that you should watch that one.
I want to say it's just called The Trouble with Edward or something like that. That one's great. Yeah,
it's a good name.
Yeah. That's the only Short Trek I really remember.
I remember there being like, I had like these like problems with like this time inconsistency thing. It was like weird, like it was like I remember the one where they were telling like young Michael like the story of like the young girl
that's
like
right
and it was I remember like it kind of bothered me because they were using like the word ancient incorrectly or something like that. I get silly sometimes. Also, it was very forgettable.
Yes, that's the issue of Short Treks. It's like, yeah, that I do not need this. Anything we want to add to Runaway? Yeah, a fun idea. Yeah. This little Star
I'd love
Trek
to see
shorts, I love it. Yeah,
I would like
little
good.
Yeah.
Like imagine if they went back and did like Voyager, so like they added in like scenes of like Harry Kim and like 7 of 9 on like a date or something like that. I'd watch that. That sounds fun.
Kind of explain why that kind of never went anywhere because they tease it, but they never do anything with it. And like that would be a fun little backstory. And you could do an anime Lower Deck style and have fun with it. And
I would be so down for that.
Yeah,
I would watch that.
We should be working for Paramount, guys. Why aren't we doing that?
Yeah. Hire us. Yeah.
Every time I talk about this stuff and how like they could be doing stuff better and whatever, I'm like, haven't these places hired me? I clearly know what to do.
Well, continuing with New Trek, actually, we got quite a few New Treks in a row here.
We do.
The Star Trek Picard pilot, Remembrance, which I misspelled the title of, but I didn't really care that much.
I noticed that. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's supposed to be May there, but I'm like, I finished it. I don't feel like redoing it. So I've made my feelings on Star Trek Picard pretty clear. It's overall a series that I am not a fan of. But if I were to take this pilot, if I were to put this pilot episode into a vacuum, I think it's okay and shows potential. But I'll let you guys go into it a bit more.
I think it is fine. I guess props for setting up a show where Picard gets run over by Brent Spiner and he flies through the air. I feel like I have to bring that up anytime we talk about Picard because it's so beautiful.
Lindsay, what do you think?
I agree that this pilot has promise. I think the first opening scene dream thing with Data and Picard is cute.
Yes.
I think it's an interesting move for this to be a continuation of the Kelvin timeline. It also shows a lot of the weaknesses that Picard's gonna have. Its obsession with mystery boxes that don't really go anywhere, and a lot of kind of just dirtling around. I mean, I know I shouldn't blame the sin of the entire season of Picard season 1 that it takes till episode 4 that they're off of Earth, but I don't feel like this episode's in space enough and it's Star Trek, but that's
I used to like how I remember watching Buffy in the day, and I liked how it used to do like season-long story arcs. And I'm not gonna lie, with Discovery and especially with Picard, I'm starting to get sick of it. Just like I'm okay with story threads taking a season or maybe even a chunk of the series to resolve, but like the season-long story arc where it's wrapped up nicely at the end. Little sick of it, especially with Picard. Discovery, like for the most part, those were decent, so I was willing to give it a pass. But like, Picard, no. But like,
an art that TV has lost, that I feel that Buffy, Star Trek, X-Files all would nail is, your story episodes and your Creature of the Week episode, or your Planet of the Week episode, or you're just random crap of the week episodes. We don't have those anymore, and I agree. I miss those.
I feel like it's kind of like a common pseudo, like, I guess, like, pop criticism of TV, where it's like, ooh, filler episodes, and I feel like I'm like the opposite. I'll be like watching a TV show and I'll be like, go screw around now.
Do some filler, please. I'm begging, just do some bullshit.
I like this cast, but I'm not a big fan of like the big overall story we're going on. Go to the beach now.
That's the thing. Like, again, putting this in the vacuum, I like the cast of Star Trek Picard. I thought, I like the actress, but the character I don't really like. Goddamn, the doctor, I don't remember her name. I'm brain farting. But I didn't like her character. I like the actress.
Oh, Girardi.
Yes. Yeah. And then Rios. God, Rios and the Romulan kid, Elnor. Talk about characters with great potential that go nowhere. I don't even recall if either of them are introduced in this episode, but God damn, Picard had potential. I like the setup of this though. Like, this is a post-Romulus destroyed world. Picard obviously stood with it. We're seeing the Federation kind of falling back on its ideals we saw earlier, which I think is an interesting place to put it in. Going a bit more political in its storytelling, which I thought that was a really good idea. Doesn't really fall through with it in any meaningful way, but I like the idea of doing this. I like the idea of like Picard like resigning from Starfleet pretty much because they weren't willing to give the Romulans the help they needed. There's really cool ideas. I like the setup of this.
I like Hugh and Picard's epic romance.
Well, that's later, but yeah. I like, while it's the main part of the storyline, I'm not as hot on the Soji Dodge stuff, but like, it's okay.
It's one of those, it's like a plot line that I want to like, but I just like don't.
I'll be honest, like, I don't remember which is bad, but like, there's the one that meets him in this episode, and then there's the one later who's working on the Borg cube. I like the one who meets him in this episode, who dies at the end of this episode. I thought she seemed like a cool character, and the one later is kind of more blah, in my opinion.
I like the mystery that this sets up about the payoff. Again, spoilers, Data's got kids. That's fun, but it's, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I think this episode's good, but like, this series is failing. Do we want to go B on this one? Because I don't. Sure. I would argue this is better than the series overall. I think it's a decent start.
You could make that argument.
Anything we want to add?
This actually might be lower than Star Trek 2009 though in the Bs. So maybe Star Trek 2009 isn't the lowest of the Bs.
Yeah.
The thing with Soji and Dodge is kind of like, that plot line is kind of like, it's not like frustrating to me, but it's disappointing.
Yeah, especially where it goes. It's like
it feels like a plot line that I would like be into, but it just manages to be just like kind of boring and bland, and it's like, I want to like this plot line, but I can't.
Okay, are we ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're going on to greener pastures now, because we're talking about Lower Decks Second Contact. I love this episode.
Great title.
Oh my god, yeah, Second Contact. Fucking beautiful way to set this up, this series.
I think that just like the opening, even just like before like we get to, before we get to the opening, the opening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
The little bit with Boimler and Mariner.
Like the teaser.
Yeah.
I think that is so beautiful in every way. I think that it perfectly sets up this show. I think that if you like it, I remember watching it and I was like pseudo, like I wasn't expecting a whole lot. And like, I remember like you know, and you're watching it, and like Boimler has like his captain's log, you know,
Yes.
and then like you have the reveal that he's not actually a captain.
No,
it takes
no,
you a bit
no.
off guard, you know,
Mm.
but you know it's called Lower Deck, so you're maybe expecting something a little bit like that. But then they go on, and then like we have Mariner showing up, and she's got like a bat lift, and she like tears
She's a
through his
little
flesh. You
drunk
can see,
too.
like,
She's a little drunk.
She's like she like attacks him. She's like slits through his leg.
Yeah, you see muscle.
I think we
and
might
stuff
be
in his
able to
leg.
like see the bone. Like,
yeah,
and it's such like a like.
It takes.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not locked in at the beginning when I first started watching Lower Decks. I saw that, I was locked in.
Yeah,
I was zoned in.
It's the Star Trek elements, but like it's having fun with them, which I love. So like and Byron's bringing up how apparently it got downvoted when the trailer came out. I'm sure it did, because all the chuds would be like, "Oh, this isn't my Star Trek." That's why you're supposed to fucking watch it before you judge it, guys. But I love the concept. Like this mission they're on is a second contact mission, because the Cerritos is just a California class. They're not the elite starships. They're the ones that, after first contact, they're the ones that visit and just make sure ink all the paperwork and make sure everything's finalized and stuff. Yeah. They are not the glamorous top tier ship. And I love that setup here. And also the zombies stuff is just so much fun they do in this. Like they pretty much just have zombies in this episode now. It gets resolved at the end of the episode.
This is the episode with that. Isn't this the one where like, and they like have to like bring him back, and Shax is like, "Did I eat human flesh? Did I eat flesh?"
Yeah, like, I think Ransom. Yeah,
it was. I messed them up sometimes because they're both blonde.
True. They're like the same character.
I mean, I know that they're like different characters. I just mess up the names sometimes.
But yeah, I love like the main characters. Obviously, I think Boimler, Mariner, Tendi, and Rutherford are great. Yeah, I think this is also the one where Rutherford's going on that first date with the trail woman. I want to say.
Yeah.
And the whole zombie outbreaks are happening, but they're just like trying to have fun on their date because they're lower decks. They're not the primary crew, so it's like, how are you doing? You doing all right?
And they're kind of like geeking out about tech a little bit.
Yeah.
Until like Rutherford geeks out too hard.
Yeah, like there's some sort of there's some malfunction, and she seems to not care. And he's like, "How do you not care? This will never work." I feel this is S tier.
Yeah, I was about to say,
love
honestly,
this one. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna have to be a Debbie Downer here. I do think this episode has some great moments in it, but it also reminds me way too much of Rick and Morty at times, and I do like Rick and Morty.
Well, I mean, that's the spirit they're going for. I will say.
Yeah, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think the series gets better from here. So I'm obviously
I will agree with that, but I think this is great.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. If 2 out of 3 people say S tier, don't lower it down just because I'm being a Debbie Downer here. But Lower Decks needed to find some legs for me. But I do think that there are great moments in this episode.
Out of curiosity, where would you rank it?
Is it probably B? But again, you guys are both saying S, so go ahead and say go ahead and do S.
That is wrong. I'm sorry, you're wrong.
I just say we are
100%. I'm fine with that. I think my favorite moment, though, I do want to shout it out just because I'm being the Debbie Downer, is when he gets Boimler gets all the pink stuff on him.
Yes,
and he gets back up to the ship. And the doctor's like, "We need to get him to medical bay." What? Why is he aboard? It's not. It's the crap he's covered in.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, no, I do love that episode, but we're gonna stick with Star Trek anime because next one is actually Prodigy, Lost and Found. I don't think this is as maybe I'm kind of like Lindsay on Lower Decks here. I don't think it's D tier though, but like. I think Prodigy gets better.
I said B. I said B, not D.
Oh, you said B? I thought you said D.
No, I thought we both thought you said D. That was why we were like, oh my god.
Okay, B. I still think that's a little low, but okay. I was like, D,
we were like,
the fuck?
We were like, that is hardcore.
Yeah, that is a huge difference. Okay.
I wish plague upon the creators of the show.
Lost and Found, I think, it's a solid intro, and I think one of the things Prodigy does that's really different from a lot of the other series, obviously, is like the entire crew is like aliens, although we find out one of the crew isn't actually quite an alien, but like They all appear alien to us in this episode. And they all find this Starfleet ship, and they love the ideals of Starfleet, so they decide to try to follow through with that and reach out to Starfleet. I just love the setup. I love how, like, through a lot of this, like, the characters can't even really talk to each other until they find the ship, which is really cool.
I did like that. Like, Star Trek should play with the language thing so much more than it does.
Yeah,
and I really, really like that. Like in Way of the Warrior, great episode, incredible episode. But sometimes the Klingons are speaking Klingon, sometimes they're speaking English. And like, how does the universal translator know when the Klingon wants to say the thing in Klingon and when does it want to say the thing in English? But sorry, go ahead.
I do like sort of, and I do like that when one of her things is that she speaks like a lot of languages. I do think that is a cool thing about that. And I know, actually, in a way, I feel like it's kind of like, obviously, like, it isn't like her job the way that it is with Uhura as much. But I do sort of feel like it's like, whoa, we're bringing back many languages, lady. But I do like this episode. I don't know, like, exactly where I would rank it, but I do think it's good, and I do think it does, like, a good job of setting up, like, its characters and their dynamics with each other. Like, for example, like, the scene with, like, Win and Dahl at the beginning, where, like, they're at, like, the table and stuff, and she's kind of, like, bartering with him a little bit.
Okay.
Like, I don't think it's, like, the best episode ever, but
no, I think it gets better.
I think that, like, the setup is very solid.
Yes. Lindsay, what are your thoughts before we get into actually discussing tier ranking?
I love Prodigy. I think that this episode maybe jumps into it a little quickly, but because it is kind of meant for like little kids, you got that attention span thing. So maybe the fact that I'm in my 36, I'm just yelling at clouds over here, being like, slow down the storytelling. So it's not my favorite pilot, but it's pretty good.
No.
Like, again, what's like the language barrier thing and how it gets solved by the ship that becomes their home, so they become a family. Like, that's all great. I adore all that. Once Janeway shows up, it gets an immediate 50-point boost. It's just so and Ella Purnell. I always have to shout out Ella Purnell.
Yes.
Ella Purnell. Like,
another thing I want to also point out is, like, of all the series we've talked about, I feel like this one, like, in the pilot, had the most solid grip on its characters. Like, these feel like decently developed characters at this point.
That was one of the things that I was thinking, because I said, like, they set up, like, the characters and their dynamics with each other pretty well, and I don't really feel like there was a thing where, like, like, I don't know, like, Rock Talk shows up one day and she's just, like, kind of a different person because the writers decided they didn't have her character down correctly the first time,
Yeah.
And I'm not, like, trashing on the other series for doing that. I get it, but I do think it is kind of cool that they just, like, had it immediately.
I think the only series that could possibly compete with it would actually be Lower Decks, the ones we just talked about.
I would put this at least in A, I think.
I lean towards A or B. What are you thinking, Lindsay?
Honestly, A is good. And I just want to shout out in the comments real quick. N2B 1986 is talking about a show called Space Cases. So I guess this is similar to. Me neither. I just Googled it really quickly. It stars Jewel State and Walter Emmanuel Jones.
Really? Really? In the 90s?
I might need to check the show out.
Must have been really young.
That's what I'm saying. I know she did one episode of The X-Files where she was like a high school kid or something like that. So I guess she was actually acting a lot in the 90s. Like, that's...
I had no idea. Right? I just knew her from freaking Firefly, okay? But yeah, Lost and Found, not my favorite of the pilots, but it's solid. There's lots of positives to it. Lots of positives.
I will say I definitely don't think it really belongs with, like, the stuff in B.
Yeah, true. I definitely think it's better than the B stuff. That's a good point. That brings us to actually, this is another one that has a solid grip on its characters as well. But we're moving out of animated stuff because we're talking about Strange New Worlds pilot.
So this is a tricky one.
What is the title of this one? What is the title of this one? What? Strong now? Well? No, the pilot of Strange New Worlds is literally just called Strange New Worlds. No points for originality on that one. But
love it.
Rewatching it, like, because it'd been a while since I'd seen this, so I rewatched it more recently. This is a solid episode. I like what they do. This is about first contact with a species, but things are a little off. They're trying to figure it out because they think they detected warp technology of this species, so they tried to reach out, and things go awry very quickly because there's lots of civil wars going on this planet. And then they stumble across this idea that like this species didn't like invent warp travel. They invented a warp bomb, which is like something they've never encountered before. It's like, moving 5 steps beyond inventing warp travel, and they're like completely stumped. But like the species is definitely not ready to be dealing with extraterrestrial cultures, because they are there's lots of civil strife, and there's lots of elements that mirror human society. Not that Star Trek would ever reference stuff happening in real life. It never does. It's always apolitical. But I'm a huge fan of Strange New Worlds, and I actually think this was a very good pilot. I don't know if it's quite S tier for me, but we'll get into tiers. You guys talk about before we get into tiers.
So I think the cast in this is great. Rebecca Romaine is amazing. What's his name from New Mutants as Pike is incredible. The guy playing Spock is really good.
Ethan Peck is so good.
Ethan Peck as Spock has a special place in my heart, because it was when I was watching Strange New Worlds that it like kind of clicked for me, and I understood like the hype around like Spock. And so
he's such a great character. There's a reason he keeps on coming back.
It's his fault that I'm into Spock now.
Like if I had to pick one character that embodies Star Trek, it would be Spock, which is why he keeps on coming back.
Spock is just that guy.
But I love Anson Mount as Pike as well.
Anson Mount. That's his name. Yeah. So one question I have though about this is because I haven't finished Discovery, so I've watched Strange New Worlds pilot and a couple of episodes here and there. And so it's not super dependent on Discovery, but it's pretty dependent on Discovery. So it's like
I don't know if I'd say that.
I watched like all of Strange New Worlds before I really got. Watched like.
You haven't finished Discovery, but you saw Strange New Worlds.
I haven't finished Discovery, but in fact I saw like I think basically like most of Strange New Worlds before I saw like basically almost any Discovery. And I will say I don't think it like I felt like I was missing anything. So
I feel like
I would disagree. But
maybe I don't know. Maybe because I saw it in the other order, it's a little tainted. But I feel like the only thing you really need to know going from Discovery is that Christopher Pike knows about his death, which is a new element they've added, and they add that in Discovery.
I thought that they kind of established that in the first episode, though.
I do think they established that, but maybe maybe if you watch this without watching Discovery, that isn't as clear to you. I don't know because I watched Discovery before this. I don't know.
I watched this before Discovery, and I would hear, and I am hearing you guys out on this, but now that I've heard you guys out, I think that you're wrong.
Fine.
Sorry.
I've only watched a little Strange New Worlds, but it's like comfort food, man. It's like a warm soup in your belly when you're having a bad day. It just makes you feel good. It's such a great callback to like 90s Trek and but while blending stuff from the original series. I'm just questioning how good of a pilot it is because of the connections to Discovery. I think it's a great show.
I think the thing about Strange New Worlds is I think out of like the new Trek, I think it is like the best at sort of recapturing sort of like the nice vibe that the older shows
It feels
had.
like older Trek, even though it's definitely done in the style of newer Trek. But like, because so many episodes are just self-contained little stories. I love that. Like there's filler episodes in Strange New Worlds. I love that. Do that.
It's like a little bit like off topic, but do you remember when Spock and T'Pring switched bodies? That's so
that
silly.
Is so fun. That's such a fun episode.
That feels like so like in the vein of like I could so see them doing that in TOS.
That's another thing. I talked about this yesterday. T'Pring was such a bitch in the original series. I did not like her at all. But then she's in Strange New Worlds and she's in the pilot, so it's completely valid to talk about this. T'Pring is awesome in Strange New Worlds. I love her in Strange New Worlds. It's wild.
I do like T'Pring in Strange New Worlds. In fact, I believe I saw like her in Strange New Worlds before I saw her in TOS. So when I actually went and I watched this episode, I was like, man, come on, T'Pring. I know you're better than this.
Yeah, you're better than this, T'Pring. Come on. No, I don't think this is quite S tier. I think Strange New Worlds itself even gets better. But I think this is really solid introduction. I lean A tier on this one.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm perfectly okay with that just because, like, the climax of the episode, there's no action. It's just Pike being like, yo, let's talk about war for a minute. And
Yeah.
it's just like, you know what, Pike? Let's talk about war.
Yeah, and
That's such a good speech he gives.
He gives human history leading up to World War III, and a lot of it's like stuff going on like about now, and it's like really cool. And I think they even threw some January 6th imagery in there, which is like fucking not afraid to hit that and be like, yeah, these things are fucked up. But yeah, I think it's overall a very solid episode. And I think unlike a lot of series, you could say, I think this episode, it's really strong, but also it represents kind of what Strange New Worlds will be going forward more than a lot of other pilots do, especially Caretaker and what would be the other one? Remembrance.
I do think part of the reason I tend to push for episodes like this to go in A, in part because I think that they're well put together and they're good and they deserve to be there, but also because like I feel like they just don't belong in the batch of B.
True.
That'd just be odd, I feel like.
Well, I think also I was saying, I said at the beginning, I think a lot of these episodes are actually, while not the best of the best, I think a lot of them are pretty good. Yeah. I think for the most part, when it comes to first episodes, Star Trek does pretty well. Not perfect, and we'll get to one coming up where it's like, but we have not hit the worst, by the way. Runaway is not the worst one we're going to talk about. But Strange, are we comfortable with A on Strange New Worlds?
Good. Yeah.
Okay, now
it's got Rebecca Romaine. I've got to love it. I can't.
Rebecca Romaine is awesome. I've been a fan of her for a long time. So yeah.
Who does she play?
She's number 1.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I see.
Yeah. I was excited when she was cast as number 1. So I was like, yeah, when they were like, yeah, we're going to do a regular series with the cast that we set up in Discovery. I'm like, fuck yeah. Pretty great. And that brings us back in time. We're going back to older again, because we have not talked about the first episode of the animated series, Beyond the Farthest Star. Not Far Beyond the Stars, Beyond the Farthest Stars. Go ahead, Ashley.
This episode is so goofy silly because they set up
holy shit.
They set up at the beginning. They like go to like this alien planet where they like find out that like something like came along and it was like destroying them, and it was so bad that like they all like committed like they're all like they've all went to the beyond now because of it, like with purpose, you know. And then like they get like this sort of virus entity or whatever, and then like yeah, like it does shut off life support, but it's very underwhelming. And then at the end they managed to shake it off. I feel like the thing is they set up the stakes so high, and then they just like yeah, it's not like super friendly per se, but they like managed to shake it off. I feel like way easier than
shake it off.
And then like at the end, the entity's just like, but I just wanted a friend. And it's like, what is this? What are we doing?
It is the animated series. It is so
listen.
Holy crap! Sometimes,
if you want, like some really like dumb cheese, really like dumb, like sort of like if you just want to watch like some dumb Trek, that I think that you should watch this because you would have fun. But as like an actual like episode, like I think it's amusing in the way that it just like falls like flat so immensely on what it sets up, but it's like not good because it falls flat so immensely on what it sets up.
For me, it's not an argument of whether or not this is good or not. It's I start asking, is this possibly so bad it's good? Because this storyline is so fucking bad shit.
If you think about it, it actually is like kind of awesome.
Yes, yes. There's like these alien ships are like, they go to visit this like giant alien ship. The alien ship's like, yeah, we're blowing up now because there's something dangerous on this. What the fuck are you doing here? Then they all leave and it goes on the Enterprise. It ends up being not that big a deal, but
like they set the stakes up so high.
I know.
And then they just like they get rid of that. Don't they like set up that like the aliens on that planet are supposed to be like way more advanced than them too?
Yeah.
So like they set this up like really high. And then they just like get rid of them lickety split, and then like the alien like monologues in the background about how sad they are to be alone forever or whatever. And it's like, man, what is happening?
What do you think of this, Lindsay?
I watched it. I intended to only watch one episode. I think I ended up watching 3. This show is so charmingly old fashioned in terms of cartoon, like just everything. I was really charmed by it. It's not great, but like there's so many things about it that I adored. Like the design of the alien ship feels like a pod of like jellyfish, like all connected by the tentacles, which is such a crazy way to design a ship. And then there's like this weird fog cloud thing that's like taking over the Enterprise that feels like Voyager stole from 30 years later with the episode where like the nebula takes over the ship or whatever. Do you remember that?
That seemed vaguely familiar. Yeah.
I mean, it's some space entity taking over the ship, so it's not the most original concept, but it's fun. The animation was charming but bad, but like bad in like a fun way. It was so stiff. I adored it. I really like this, and I would like I said, I watched 3 episodes, so I think it's a great pilot.
Well, I think
I'm big into the way that like their eyes are just like the exact same color as their skin all the way.
Yep.
I also think like in some ways, like weirdly enough, I think Spock almost comes across as more expressive in the series than normal. And I feel like it's because of like the way like they set it up. Everyone is like kind of not super expressive because of like the budget limits or whatever, you know? And I get that. But it's just like every now and then Spock will just do like a little bit of something extra and it's like, whoa there, buddy.
Well, like the animated series is kind of wild. So like because it's animated, they do weirder stuff with the alien species and stuff like that. Like there's that weird looking alien. I don't know his species or his name, but the weird looking alien that takes over for Chekhov because they didn't get Walter Koenig for this series. Who's voiced by James Doohan, by the way, which is a fun throwaway. But like, you know, he's so alien looking, and they do stuff like that where you have aliens in this series that are really radically different than what we're used to. It's no longer humans with weird shit on their foreheads, which I like. But then there's also the limits of this series because you can tell the animation is so cheap. They're reusing cells so fucking often. Occasionally the
like the original Fantastic Four cartoon from the 60s or like Johnny Quest. It reminded me so much of that, and it just gave me such nostalgic vibes.
And I will say, because you said you watched the first couple ones, I'm pretty sure Yesteryear would be in that one. And that's actually a really great episode. That's just a solid episode of Star Trek, period.
Yeah.
I don't think Beyond the Farthest Star is up that quality at all. But can
I bring up a comment?
Yes. Oh.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know how to use your mouse.
Mouse are weak.
Also, by the Yesteryear had a Birdman alien that was incredible.
Yes.
This is what I've been trying to talk about, you know, like everyone's so like, you know, because of the limitations, no one's really like super like expressive, and so like Spock will like quirk his eyebrow and I'm like, oh my goodness, he's so out there from how he usually is.
So I guess we can talk a little bit about tier. Well, the animated series, it's lasted 2 seasons, but it's worth knowing the second season is only 6 episodes. So like if you only see season 1 of the animated series, you're watching like 90% of the series.
So did it just get canceled? Did they run out of money, or like what was the story?
It was canceled. I don't know the full story behind it.
I'm very bemused about where we would place this because it's just so like I feel like this almost like needs like its own little tier. That's just like cheese.
Definitely not.
It just says like cheese, you know. Silly.
I lean towards a C, or a B. I could be talked into C, and I don't think this is particularly a great episode, but I do think it's batshit shit enough to be enjoyable. That's where I'm at with it.
It's hard to rank because it's like because it's not like, you know, like particularly like good per se in a conventional sense, but it is like fun, you know. Are you good?
I had
Elim.
Oh, okay. We are having technical difficulties.
By technical, do you mean catechal difficulties?
By technical, I mean drink on floor.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah, I've been there.
So how have you been?
I'm good. I'm just trying to think like something other fun. Like it's there's something about old animation when it's like everyone's just like standing still, but they'll do like zoom in, zoom out things to like like give you the feel that things are happening. I'm really into that, and like so that's why I just had fun with this. I don't. I don't want to say this is high B, but I feel like this is B, but it's higher than everything else that we have in B right now. But maybe that's just me.
I think that might actually be a good way to put it together because like it's not like quality wise, it's maybe like not like I don't want to put it in A purely because of like the quality. But like I think you could like make the argument that you could just like put it like high B, you know? Anyway, well, welcome
charming.
back.
Where are we at on this one?
We're thinking like high B, top B.
You know, it's not that often I spill my drink, but like I usually drink water, so it's not that big a deal. And now I have a soda and I spilled it over the floor. It's like fuck. No. One time I'm drinking soda, it was all over the floor. Fuck off.
What you get for indulging, bro?
So what are we thinking for Beyond the Farthest Star?
We're thinking like top of B.
Top of B?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not great, but it is fun.
Yeah.
We're because it's so just insane and
represent that the best that we can.
Yeah. That brings us okay, so we got a couple movies and then one more series left. We're almost through this, guys. So
I love how the last one is what the last one is. I don't want to say what it is in case the audience
it was randomized and we'll end up last. We haven't mentioned it yet, obviously, but we will because there are things I'm sure we all have to say about that episode. But yes, we're coming up with Star Trek: The Motion Picture. After the success of Star Wars, Star Trek, was this constantly canceled series, but it was a noteworthy sci-fi franchise, and like we're going to turn this into a movie. They gave Gene Roddenberry a whole bunch of money to make a actually pretty overpriced movie, although kind of. Say what you will about the motion picture. Visually, this is probably one of the most beautiful Star Trek movies, especially for the time.
Yeah. It is very nice looking.
But the story is a bit of a slog.
Yeah, and I will say I think that it being kind of like a bit of a slog was very exaggerated for me because remember when you showed it to me and we watched this and we were waiting in like outside in a car, right? And we didn't have the like. We weren't using a whole lot of air conditioning.
Well, no, the band didn't have a working
AC. It didn't have air conditioning? Yeah. Okay. I forgot why we weren't doing it. So we didn't have a working AC, and it was like hot. It was hot. And so we have like the window open because it's the best that you can do in this scenario. And so I'm watching like this like
you're watching Spock enter the space vagina.
The motion picture, like famously kind of a drag, and I'm like sweating buckets, like and I think it made it seem almost like to me like longer than it was purely because I was in that environment when I watched it.
I will say there's actually a director's cut of this that isn't vastly different, but like I don't know what it is about, but I feel like it flows better. The little bit of changes to it flows better. Unfortunately, you can't really find it a whole lot. It's mostly theatrical cut, and theatrical cut does drag. It's not I don't hate this movie at all. I think it's decent, but it is not perfect by any means.
Early Voyager reference.
Yeah.
It was about them.
No, okay.
I mean,
where do you guys want to tier rank it? Because I'm not sure. I'm not.
Beecher.
Yeah, Beecher.
I frequently hear some people arguing that this is technically the perfect Star Trek movie, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. But
I don't.
I do not.
But I think it kind of captures like the unique vibe of Star Trek in a way that a lot of the other movies haven't really accomplished. So that does get at some points in my book.
I do feel like this is the only Star Trek movie that I'd say kind of definitely takes more inspiration of anything from like something like 2001, which is definitely like while this movie like definitely feels a bit like self-indulgent. You could definitely feel where it gets at from 2001 because that movie is super self-indulgent. But I also feel like 2001 earns it better because like it like Stanley Kubrick knows what the fuck he's doing. Like that movie despite how self-indulgent it works, and this one isn't quite there. Yeah.
Every time people bring up 2001: A Space Odyssey, I'm like, man, I haven't seen that. I should see that.
Yeah, it's a classic. It is a classic.
It sounds cool. It sounds good, and I've seen like some of like the special effects from it, and it looks very good for its time.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's like, way ahead of its time. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would argue this movie as well is way ahead for its time as well.
Oh yeah, some of the shots of that crazy nebula are really good.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
From a visual standpoint, this is kind of a beautiful movie. Yeah, but yeah, it is a bit of a slog. The Ilea stuff, where like she's from this planet of like super sexual beings, and so she has to take a vow of celibacy to join Starfleet.
Wait,
feels
what?
So fucking Gene Roddenberry.
Wait, but what?
Yes, he has to keep a vow of celibacy on record.
Maybe like when I was like sweating, I like momentarily like I like lost consciousness.
Yeah,
but like what?
And apparently, her and Deckard have a past relationship, but apparently they either never slept together or they slept together before she joined Starfleet or something like that. It's weird. I don't know the full details,
lost.
But
why would she have to be like celibate though? Like I don't like,
because it's Gene Roddenberry.
Like I understand like it shouldn't get in like the way of like work, but like I don't feel like that means she like just shouldn't.
No, like one of her first lines is she walks on the bridge and it's like, my vow of celibacy is on record. It's like,
oh my goodness,
the fuck.
I do remember that actually.
Yeah. It's like the fuck. Yeah,
I completely forgot.
I am curious where you guys are at with it. It's definitely not S tier for me, but it's definitely not D tier either, because there's a too much to appreciate with this movie. But what do you guys think?
I'm honestly, excuse me, pretty okay with this going in like A or B tier, just because it's such an interesting accomplishment for the time, and it has one of my favorite factoids about any movie ever. The way they made that sound effect every time they show the shot of the nebula, and it was like, that's like a 30-foot long piece of sheet metal that they're banging with an empty tank shell. And that's how they got that sound. That's very cool.
That's fun. I like.
Well, the other thing I want to bring up, like, it's not talked about a whole lot. You saw the director's edition back in 2022. Very, very cool.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
But there's a scene early on in this. So, like, it was actually kind of written in this way because they weren't sure if Leonard Nimoy was coming back. But they have another Vulcan science officer who's supposed to come on board. And there's a transporter accident, so he doesn't make it. And he suffers one of the most haunting deaths ever in Star Trek. Like this, like they're trying to beam him aboard, and it's not like working. And you see, and then like eventually you hear this like just scream echoing through the transporter room, and it's like pure nightmare fuel. And then essentially you hear the message from down on the base, and it's like, what we got back didn't live long. And it's like, that's twisted. And it's like, is it necessary in the movie? No, but it's like really like
iconic,
disturbing. Yeah, it's like, damn, that's wild scene to just throw in there.
I
also love the idea that like transporters could just do that and people still use them. Like there's like every time you transport, there's a 1% chance you're gonna die horribly. Like really?
Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to be that high, but like, yeah, it does happen. It's wild. I'm trying to think. Is that the first time we see a transporter accident?
I mean, we see transporter accidents before that, but like not like this type of transporter
accident. That's true. I guess
right.
I mean we do see like Enemy Within where Kirk gets split. Yeah, but they're able to fix that. All this would get resolved. They just had O'Brien there. I'm just saying, nobody does transporters like him. I know he wasn't born yet when this movie came out, but it's not his fault.
Time travel for.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with this going in B tier, but I want it to go above Star Trek 2009.
Ooh. You want to put it here?
Yes.
I'm okay with that being the top of B tier.
I'm fine, yeah. I think it's like I said, I like it, but it's not great either. We definitely get better. No our next entry, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And again, like you might be wondering why this is there for the same reason Wave the Warrior is there. When the motion picture came out, it made a lot of money, but it was also really expensive. So the studio, even though it made a lot of money, it didn't really bring in a whole lot of profit. So essentially, they kind of kicked Gene Roddenberry out, and they were looking for somebody who could produce something with Star Trek, but do it cheaper. And essentially, they came to not Nicholas Meyer. They came to Harve Bennett, and Nicholas Meyer was one of the directors who works with Harve Bennett. And essentially, they looked at Star Trek, and they're like, "Yeah, we could definitely do something cheaper and way less boring." And they did Wrath of Khan, where they went through and they rewatched the original series and they're like, what element do we want to borrow from the original series to base our movie around? They saw a space scene and they said, that's our villain. So they did Wrath of Khan, made Khan, like, as much as I like Ricardo Montalban and Space Seed, which is a cool episode, Wrath of Khan is so much cooler what they do with him here, where he is just on this revenge mission. That planet they put him on, it got blown out of orbit and it became this desert. And because he's genetically engineered, he thought of ways they could survive in this desert. But most of them didn't. I assume MacGyver's is supposed to die in between this, and like most part, the characters we see in Space Seed are dead, but we have a new cast. But this is just a great Captain Ahab story, and kind of set the stage for what Star Trek movies would be going forward. But I love this. This probably has to be S tier for me. But what do you guys think?
I know one of the things that I remember about this. I know this is like sort of like they're going into it and they're going into it sort of like less expensive, a bit of a lower budget than they did for Star Trek the motion picture. But one of the things that I remember about this isn't this where they have like they shift the uniforms to what we went to basically for the rest of the time?
For the rest of the movies, yeah.
Yes, and I actually think that those uniforms look much better than what they had in the motion
I know.
picture,
So like in the motion picture, the uniforms, they made new uniforms for the motion picture, and I think they're fine, but like I do think they look better in this. And a lot of it is like turning them inside out and dyeing them red for this.
Yeah.
And it looks great. Like you can't tell they're just like mangling the uniforms they made for the motion picture to work in this. But I think it works. It works great. Like I love this is a great movie.
Work
Lindsay.
smarter, not harder.
I agree. I caught a showing of this not long after the Uhura actress she died a few years ago,
Nichelle
right?
Nichols.
And Nichelle Nichols, yeah, and they did the AMC's around here did a special screening of a couple of the Star Trek movies, and I caught Wrath of Khan just because it's such a good movie. A chance to see it on the big screen, I had to take it, and yeah, man, this movie's awesome. Khan is such a Shakespearean, over-the-top villain. Like the whole cast is incredible. I love the idea of Genesis being a thing of creation, being used as a means of destruction. There's just so much going on in this movie. And it's so well made.
Naming it after such a great band is such a great idea. That's what they're naming it after, right?
Of course, yeah, I know. Of course.
I don't know if he talks to you about like Genesis, but it is his favorite band, and so periodically I will get like memes about how like they want like Phil Collins, you know, like
what? Yeah. Like the famous one I love is what is the Klingon in the third one? Purge? Something like that.
Christopher Lloyd plays him.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd. Yeah.
Krug.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But like, there's this meme where he's yelling, "I want Genesis," and the next picture is him with like headphones on, listening to the Genesis self-titled album. He's like, "Excellent."
There's like we were joking. There's like only one copy of like the remastered version, and they're all fighting for it.
Yeah. But yeah, not really relevant. But like, yeah, Star Trek 2. It's S tier, right? Are we agreeing this is S tier?
This movie's legendary, man.
Yeah,
it's so good.
This was. I mean, the fact is, this was the Star Trek movies after this set the stage. Like,
yeah,
for better or worse, this is it. And for the most part, it's better. I think the original series movies are actually pretty good. If we don't look at Star Trek 5, they're pretty good.
If you ignore that one, I agree.
Yeah.
Wait, 5 is the one where they meet God, right? I'm not mixing that up.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. Okay.
I mean, Search for Spock gets some guff, but it's actually decent in my opinion. And I'm okay with the motion picture as well. But yeah.
I remember my favorite one was the one with the whales.
The whales is so awesome. Yeah. Voyage Home.
It's so like its own thing, and it's so fun. I'm getting off topic, but I feel like it's also like kind of very like Star Trek in a way, you know.
But are we ready for our final entry?
I don't know if anyone's ready.
If you're a big Star Trek fan, you might notice there's an entry we haven't talked about yet, but it's on here because we couldn't miss this one. Encounter at Farpoint. I said it.
So my thing is,
oh god.
My thing is, when I watch stuff for like the podcast or the stream or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I am trying to I'm trying to like actually watch it and like not like zone off into my own world. But man, I zoned out so hard during this. Like I could not.
Why are you talking about this? Is
like it's
perfect
one of those
episode.
things where it's like, yeah, of course I want to watch it even if I don't particularly like it because like I need to talk about it, right? But man, oh.
So for the record, TNG is one of my favorite Star Trek series.
Oh yeah.
But
bonus points for introduction of O'Brien, I guess.
Yeah, we do get the brief O'Brien cameo, even though he's not named. But yes, he does get a couple lines too, which is kind of wild. But like we talked about how like Caretaker and to a lesser extent Broken Bow and Vulcan Hello, like they set up good stories, but like the rest of the series doesn't really follow through on it. Whereas Encounter at Farpoint is almost at the opposite end. It sets up a really boring, dumb story. But like the rest of the series, as it goes on, it really finds its footing and becomes so much better than this. Season 1 was rough. This isn't even the worst season 1 episode, but it is actually pretty far down there in my opinion. There's actually better stuff in season 1. I don't think there's anything great in season 1, but like there's a couple of decent episodes in season 1, but there's a lot of mid and there's a lot of bad too. And this is definitely more in the bad category.
Do you remember when I was watching this? I kind of I remember this isn't even really about like how it is as a pilot, but I remember I was watching it and I was like, kind of interested in this Tasha Yar character, and I was like, I remember now.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, in season 1, like you watch season 1 at TNG, Tasha is actually one of the more developed characters until she dies. They actually spent a decent amount of time developing her.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I'm watching this and like like the actress, like she has like a presence behind her.
Yeah.
And like she speaks with such conviction, and they're like sounds like they're setting up like this cool stuff for her, even if I admittedly thought that this episode was so boring. I just remember like watching it, I was thinking like, I kind of like this character. Then I was like, oh right, yeah, doesn't she like get like lightly pushed over and dies?
Yeah. Oh, she's dead.
There's like a lightning bolt involved. She doesn't just trip. She gets
a little zappy little light show. It was kind of, I remember when I first watched that and being really confused, like, wait, she's dead? Like, that's it?
We're done now.
It's
they did the development too fast.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah, apparently. So a little bit of backstory behind this. This was meant to be a 1-hour episode, but the studio behind it insisted they do a 2-hour episode, so they had to buff it up. God, you feel every moment of that. Oh my God! My
thing is that I like some aspects of this episode. I mean, I think it does come across sometimes as being like I don't know if I be like necessarily like super into it if it was like shorter. It does sort of have kind
it
of
would improve it, but
it would improve it by a long shot.
Still,
but it does like it's not like I think in ways it's like it's very like Star Trek, you know, because like Picard's out here like no, and humans can still be good, and it's very sort of Star Trek style preaching about that sort of thing. And like I don't know if I would necessarily be like super into it because like I feel like we've dealt with like sort of concepts similar to that in like, better ways throughout Star Trek. But like, it's just like, oh, it's so long. I do really like some of the, like, I like some of the aspects of like how they sort of like introduce like Data in this episode. And I like that they sort of show him like, they have the thing where he basically like regurgitates what Q said, but then like his voice, and I like that, and it's just I would like it if it was good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, the story goes that this was originally like it was a Q story and this boring ass Farpoint story, and they just smushed it together, right?
There might have been something like that as well. It does feel like that as well.
Sounds right.
Well, I mean, Star Trek usually does the A plot and the B plot, and I guess they're trying to weave together as well as possible. Although the Farpoint test for judging humanity feels weak sauce as fuck. But
like what is even like the lesson that they're supposed to learn? It's like, oh, space can be filled with big, beautiful squid monsters. I guess we have to acknowledge that. Like, it just it doesn't come together in any way, shape, or form. It feels like two disparate stories. If they had found a way to like weave it better, maybe. But like Picard would still be like a weird robot. Data would still be too human. Riker would be like a weird psychopath, and Wesley would still be annoying. So it's like, and there wouldn't be enough Miles O'Brien. So it's like there'd still be all these things stacked against.
Don't even know his name. They're missing out.
Right? It froze me off.
He should have had a 20-minute introductory scene. What are you doing, Star Trek?
Most important man in Federation history, and you're barely giving him any lines. Just fail.
It froze me off so hard when I see him get like credited as like as being like transporter chief.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you even know who you're referring to? You don't even understand the most important person in all of Starfleet.
True. Yeah. So, God, this, like, I don't even think we've really even talked about Q in this episode. Because Q is a character like I love later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has 2 season 1 appearances. They both suck.
I guess
this is one of them. Yes.
I mean, John Delancey is amazing. He nails that character. Every goddamn time.
Like the overconfident delivery he always does with the character. It's brilliant. I love it. Great actor.
And his judge outfit in this episode, like that red and black getup, is iconic, man.
No, there's some cool visuals. Like there's cool set design when they're going back to like the future for us, but the past for them, our primitive society, some cool stuff. But I honestly cannot rank this any higher than D. I don't know what else to say. It's bad.
I feel like this is like the only, like one of the only things on here that I feel like is like actively difficult to watch. Like I legitimately, like I was trying to watch this, but like if you asked me to describe this episode of you, I don't know how well I would do because I just
it's because it's all over the place. So you have this Q alien who's like trying to say humanity, you're not worthy to travel out there. But you also have this space station that is being run by this guy who's sus as fuck, and it turns out like
Groppler Zorn. Say his name, sir. Groppler Zorn.
Okay, so his name is Dipshit.
His name is Groppler? That is...
I didn't know it was Groppler. Awesome. Zorn's familiar, though. But yeah.
Groppler.
Yeah, he's like holding... we find out he's like holding this alien hostage, and that's actually his space station, and like its mate comes to save it. Honestly, the Q stuff might work, because I think the idea of judging humanity is interesting. But like this whole Farpoint conundrum is just so dry and boring. I don't care.
I mean, I guess,
and it is stretched. You feel every moment this is stretched. It is
I mean, I guess credit to this episode for being the initial building blocks for Q and Picard's epic love story.
Yeah, their epic romance. Is there any argument on putting this in D tier? Or against putting this in D tier?
I mean, it also, here's the thing, like it also falls back to is this a good pilot? The answer is no. It's not a good random episode of Star Trek. It doesn't set the series up in any way. This is just kind of like a failure of an hour and a half of TV. But
there are pilots on here that I think set up a better series than what we actually got.
That's true.
Like I said, this is the only example that sets up a worse series than what we actually got. This is so much worse than the actual series is. Although maybe it's a good representation of season 1, but
Also, we need to mention it's the only episode of Star Trek where a man wears a skirt.
Actually, I think there's a couple other season 1 episodes that do.
It's
only in season 1.
It's farther in the back.
Okay.
There's never a main character wearing a mini skirt. Like I appreciate what they're going for, being like, oh well, actually the mini skirts are worn by both men and women, so everybody can wear it. And it's like, okay, I get it. You just want to keep the mini skirt around, but like maybe just let it go. Maybe just let it go.
You gotta commit to that. I know I was talking to Dad, and I was like, if they weren't afraid of the grand TV overlords, what they would have, Data would try.
I was about to say they want to go all in. Data wears a mini skirt.
I don't think he would do it all the time. I think he would probably he would wear it for a couple days, and then he would probably decide that he thought that the pants just made more sense and they were easier to move around. But he would try it. Mark my words.
Of all the major characters in this, of the men, I think Data is the most likely to walk around in the mini skirt outfit. Just because interesting. Let's do this. Yeah, he'd probably be down for that. He's a pretty funny dude.
I bet when he asked, so when they're about to shoot the scene where he runs over Picard at the car, he's just like, can I wear a mini skirt as I run him over? Just for fun.
You can't see in that scene, but he is wearing a mini skirt. Guys, trust.
Finally, I get my mini skirt uniform. Yes. Yeah. So we're doing D on this one, right?
Yeah.
As much as I think Runaway's forgettable, this one has elements I think are pretty actively bad, to be honest.
I would
it
like
haunts
to.
You.
Yes.
Take a moment and be a little bit silly and bounce off of this comment here. No, not that one. This one. Yes. Do you see the reason why Q didn't bring Miles O'Brien in there is because he knows that he's perfect and he doesn't need any test.
No,
he's the exception.
No, that's not it at all, Ashley. The reason why is because he fears Miles. He knows he'll come up with some goofy engineering transporter thing to actually get to him. So he's not fucking with Miles.
It is kind of silly. He's there. And I guess Q just doesn't care.
Yeah. Do we want to rearrange any of these?
Well, a quick question. I meant to message this to you guys before. The Scorpion from Voyager also count as kind of like a Way of the Warrior pseudo reboot, because that's how they introduced 7 of 9 and stuff like that.
Not really. Yeah, I actually that was a consideration, but it wasn't quite the same, so I didn't count it because it wasn't meant as a reboot. It was just kind of a big event.
No, I just wanted to bring it up. That's all, because it was just but that's it.
I do like that episode.
Yeah, it is a cool one. Yeah, for sure.
Well, he's one introduced as Jerry Ryan, so it's the best.
I know. I've talked about this before, but I think that they kind of I feel like they they have sort of the design for 7 of 9 when she is fully Borg, and I think that I think it is a really cool looking design, and I kind of wish that they had kept a little bit more sort of gear and mechanical stuff in her costume in the later episodes.
Yeah,
well, it might have cost more money, but I think it would have looked nicer. And I guess also in general, I wish that they had her wear outfits that made sense and wouldn't be deeply uncomfortable.
Well, it's frustrating because she's such a well-written character, and I think it's frustrating how they it's to Paul, although I feel like that's a bit to a lesser degree, but it's God dress her in the skin tight, skimpy outfit, and it's please don't.
I want to say I've read stuff where she's talking about it, and she's saying that it really it was squeezing her ribs really hard and stuff, and it's man.
Plus,
stop.
I would argue in her outfit, I think she's better looking in Picard than she is in Voyager, because Voyager just looks so weird and awkward where she's walking around. It's I get what you're doing, but you can stop. She's such a good character.
I guess in a way it probably made her act more stiff. So, but they still shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done it. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's not only is that not really a good thing just to have someone wear, especially for that long in general, but it could look nicer, guys. Yeah. We could make it more distinctive.
Maybe I shouldn't have included.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, looking at Jay Bird's comment, talk about the hope, that hope is you, part 1, which is the first episode of Discovery season 3, which
interesting. Okay.
like I think there are arguments to be made for Scorpion and the hope is you. I didn't quite qualify them because like none of them are really meant to really reboot anything or reintroduce it. They're kind of a new thing. It's a new thing, but it's like it's still exploring on the previous thing, which is why I didn't quite count it. I think Section 31 is actually the miss I have, though.
Yeah, I know.
There is a concept of the repilot. Like, I think it was season 3 for Parks and Recreation. Basically, starts with getting the gang back together and kind of reintroduce every character and what their gig is. Like that is like a legitimate thing that shows do. And Way of the Warrior legitimately was that. Scorpion, not quite as much. You are correct on that. Yeah, I'm following you.
But I do think changing. I'll be honest. So I'll see what I'm going to reorganize S tier here, and you guys let me know what you think of this. How do you guys feel with that sitting?
I feel like that's fair.
I don't know if you can tell, Lindsay. Rathacon I put in number 1, and then Way of the Warrior, and then Emissary, and then Second Contact.
I mean, Second Contact still needs to be in D tier. No, I'm kidding.
Second Contact is a fucking solid pilot, bro.
You're wild.
That's an awesome. Like, it's not the best episode of Lower Decks, but come on.
You're gonna get like clipped for this.
I mean, I will be honest. Like, I wasn't sure if I'd like Lower Decks, but I gave it a shot. So I started watching Second Contact, and I was locked in fairly quickly on that. I was like, oh, I love this.
Like I get it. I get what we're doing here. You
know? Let's see. How would we organize this?
I
will say I definitely like Broken Bow more than Caretaker. What'd you say, Lindsay?
Well, we do need to still do our Lower Decks episode, by the way.
We should. I'd be down.
We've got the next one planned, but the next one we'll figure it out. But I'm okay with Broken Bow over Caretaker. Oh, I actually had a cool factoid about Broken Bow, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So it's called Broken Bow because, like, where the spaceship lands in the is Broken Bow. But the reason why that area is called Broken Bow because it was named after the people that settled it, who moved there from Broken Bow, Nebraska, and they just named it the same name as the place that they left. And I think that's kind of a cute callback to the Enterprise, just kind of always being the name of whatever the spaceship is in Star Trek. I think that's kind of cute.
Yeah. In fact, actually, I kind of reorganizing this a bit.
Sure.
I'm actually not sure about these two. I don't want to judge them too harshly because the time period, but I kind of feel
the struggle with talking about older, especially like 60s Star Trek.
They are decent episodes. I think they're both solid episodes, to be honest. Sexism aside. Are they the best of this bunch? I don't know.
I'm not really gonna fight you on the A tiers. It's gonna be a little bit later that I start fighting you.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I'm comfortable with those two sitting in the front though, which one I'm thinking. What are we thinking of this order? For A tier.
I'd put Broken Bow in front of the Cage just because then that puts the Cage with Strange New Worlds, and that's cute.
That is cute. Although how do we feel about this? Oh wait.
Now you're breaking the timeline. No, they're inversed. No, I'm okay.
I like the Cage is great,
but it is.
I do think Strange New
It's got some stuff
does a bit more. Yeah. And then Where No Man Has Gone Before. I do like, as much as I thought The Cage was a solid pilot, I'm kind of surprised it didn't get picked up. I do think Where No Man Has Gone Before is probably a bit better. I think it's a bit more cohesive as of an episode. How do you guys feel about Broken Bow leading A tier?
I shall allow it.
Well, what do you think, Lindsay?
Yourself. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I think it's solid. I think Enterprise, it's got some solid episodes, but what holds it back is when it does a bad one, it is really fucking bad. And Archer is so inconsistent in his writing. I feel sorry for Scott Bakula because I know he's a good actor. Like That motherfucker had to carry Quantum Leap for what, 5 seasons? And he talks about how he's in almost every single shot of that show because he is like the key element that you follow throughout the whole series. And he carries that show.
In like every shot. I never thought about that before. That's wild.
Maybe not every shot, but every scene. Like there's almost like because you're following Sam Beckett so distinctly in that series, he's in like every scene. The whole point is like if there's something happening without Sam Beckett, you're not watching it pretty much. And he does a good job.
Beckett's not on screen. Everyone should be saying, "Where's Sam Beckett?"
At least Al should be like, well, how the fuck did I end up here? But like Enterprise, I feel like doesn't know 100% what to do with them. That being said, there's other elements I think really work well here. I love Trip, and I think the politics a little bit to grow into, but I love Trip and Hoshi and to a lesser degree Phlox and Travis immediately. The only reason I don't rank Hoshi and Travis higher up in my favorite characters is pretty much because the writing as it goes on does very little with them, which gets really fucking frustrating because I do like them. It just they do get a couple
Hoshi's
stand-up
introduction
early.
Is great,
dude. I love Archer.
Like,
yeah.
No, go ahead.
I love how Archer's like, I need to go on this mission, and she's like, oh, I can't. I'm busy. I got classes to do. And he's like, here's an alien language, and she's like. He's like, yeah, if you don't go on this mission right now, because I need you right now, you don't get to find shit like this. And she's like, it's like, oh, Archer, that is dirty pool. But yeah, you know you got her. You know,
that's a good Archer right there.
Yeah, she's not even excited to go into space, but like just introducing her to alien languages, she's like, oh, I need to do that. I mean, yeah, I think Broken Bow is overall good. Introduction. Okay, so now we're in B tier.
Okay.
Ashleen's got some thoughts here. I feel like
I got opinions.
Ooh, well, I bet you want Star Trek at 2009 at the bottom, and I would lean more towards that, towards the top. As much it does have issues, it has aged poorly, but I think.
It's just like I just can't.
Well, one change I think we can all agree on is can we put the original Star Trek the motion picture over Generations?
Oh yeah.
That is fair.
I do think the motion picture is a better put together movie overall. I feel it's much less rushed and honestly, yeah. It has more going for it than Generations does. How would you guys feel about possibly that?
You dirty boy.
Disrespectful. Disrespectful.
That episode, it's less that it's good, but more that it's so bad it's good. Like I appreciate it more than I think it's good.
So the thing is, the reason why we had a conversation while you were like while you were out and about, we had a conversation, and the reason why we decided to put it up at the top of B is because it's not like very good quality wise, but it is like kind of like fun to watch in its own way. And that's why we had it there.
Oh, you guys moved it to the top of B.
Yes.
Oh dear, and I'm messing things up, aren't I? Well, even putting it at the bottom, I was like, I don't know if I'm quite comfortable for that at the bottom.
And I was like,
because I was like, I don't know about Remembrance being
beyond the farthest star slander.
So if you guys moved it there, I will stand by that. How do you feel about C tier? Do we think Mantrap should come before Mantrap, or maybe Mantrap?
I think that we should.
I feel like maybe Mantrap should just.
I'm just gonna keep arguing to move it down.
We also haven't considered yet Galaxy Quest. Where does that fit on this list of Star Trek reboots? Like,
that gets its own tier for S plus, Super S.
It's just the tier above that, and it's just Galaxy Quest.
Yeah. As
I recently
the Star Trek we always wanted but never got.
I recently was at a poster store here in Los Angeles, and I saw this amazing poster for Galaxy Quest done in the original Star Trek the motion picture style.
Oh, awesome!
And it was in this big, beautiful frame, and it was like $500. So it's like I couldn't do it, but it was just like it was. I'm looking online for that specific poster now because it was so fucking gorgeous. Like,
I always love to talk about this, but I have the Steelbook for Star Trek Beyond. and the steelbook cover is done in the motion picture style, where it's like the three faces beaming in the different colors, except it's like Kelvin, Kirk, Kelvin, Spock, and Jayla. It's done exactly in that style. I was like, oh, I love that cover. That's beautiful.
That's pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But yeah, okay. So a really D tier. Runaway and Encounter at 4 point dead last, and I'm comfortable with that. Where those land. Well, how about you guys?
Yeah, I'm okay.
That makes sense to me.
As much
I
as
think we could
Runaway,
we could put Star Trek 2009 in here.
As much as Runaway leaves no impression on me, like I would definitely watch that before Encounter at Farpoint again.
We can put it at
oh my god!
We can put Star Trek 2009 at the top of D. Try to make it sound nicer, you know.
I think it's better than you're gonna make credit for. Yes, it hasn't aged great, and
it's just
you also had to live in the time where we had no Star Trek, and then that came out. It's like, oh, thank God, Star Trek can still be alive.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think my thing is like, because I don't remember the Runaways. If I had to choose between Encounter and Farpoint or watching Runaways again, I would probably watch Runaways again just to try and understand why I didn't remember.
Yeah, and then you'd be like, oh, as soon as it's over, it's like, wait, what the fuck was that again?
I think also, like, the thing is there is that you have, like, the option to watch, like, a not very good, like, 10-minute episode, and then you have the option to watch a not very good, almost, like an hour and a half episode or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think the choice is kind of easy.
Well, I will give Encounter at Farpoint a little point here, because it does feature a cameo by DeForest Kelly, which feels completely superfluous and kind of thrown in randomly in the middle. But you know what? DeForest Kelly, cool.
What did he do?
He played Dr. McCoy.
Oh, he did? Oh,
very briefly. He's like Ambassador McCoy or something in the old age makeup.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, he would play the person that he plays normally.
Yes, but
like,
that was fun. But yeah, he was the one that got to pass the torch in Next Generation. It was him and Data, which, hey, even though it felt completely forced, cool moment.
he should have brought to live action. Wait, that's a completely different person. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I was about to say something that didn't make any sense.
Okay, looking at how we have these ranked, I think that's pretty honest. Like right now we have Wrath of Khan top tier and then Encounter at 4 point at the bottom. And I think that works. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I think, like, all in all, I think the spectrum here is accurate. There's some slight changes I would make.
I think there's slight changes we would all make, but I think I can live with this.
I think as everyone's opinions smushed together, I think this is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm down with. I mean, it needs Galaxy Quest, but as long as we're spiritually putting it in S+, like, this is fine. Like,
yeah, spiritually, yeah. It's not technically. Well, what would we rank the pilot episode of Orville?
Star Trek adjacent.
Yeah. Well, it says Star Trek is Galaxy Quest. Let's be real.
That's true.
It's Star Trek in spirit, but definitely not in name.
You know, I ended up seeing I want to say a clip from the Orville recently, and I had this moment where I was like, oh my goodness, Cassidy Yates.
Yeah, that's true. She was a regular in that.
I hadn't really seen a whole lot of Deep Space Nine at that point. So it took me so off guard. I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah,
Cassidy Yates. I was so hyped.
No, I think it's great they brought her back to be a regular in that series, because it's like, fuck yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good list. I can live with that. Yeah, Jaybird's got this. Yeah, no, I recently on stream I reacted to Critical Drinker panning Star Trek Beyond, and I was just like, you
really?
Fucking idiot. Yeah, he called it Star Trek Beyond Stupidity, and I was just very frustrated with how he broke it down.
My thing is, I don't think
I'm like that movie.
I don't think I'm like,
it's one of the best. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
My thing is, I don't feel like I'm as into Star Trek Beyond as you guys, but like, knowing the Drinker, I bet he's found like a really stupid reason to dislike it.
Oh yeah,
let's be honest.
He's criticizing character beats, and one of his criticisms is that they name the starbase instead of giving it a number. And I'm like, who gives a shit?
Okay, they're allowed to do that. They're allowed to be spunky.
Yeah. But yeah, of course it's really dumb. But you know what I'm kind of excited for, and I'm getting episodes put together for it. Our next Star Trek stream, where we're going to be talking about morally ambiguous Star Trek episodes, which I think is kind of interesting, kind of inspired by Aisling viewing Tuvix and getting really upset about it.
I lost. No, I lost it. I had like a much bigger reaction than I expected.
I haven't seen it in a while. Like when I put it on, I was kind of half asleep.
Yeah,
so.
he was dozing off, and I'm just out here like, no.
Yeah, and I'm like catching moments of it. It's like, hey, Star Trek, cool. But yeah, I thought I'd put it on Brewer because it's like a classic episode, and she was like, no, and I'm like, oh man, maybe I should rewatch it. But yeah, we're going to be looking at there's lots of episodes where at least it ends on some sort of moral ambiguity, and so we're going to look at some of the episodes where what is the morals here? What are we trying to teach, and kind of break down some of those, maybe even tier rank them too. I haven't fully decided, but that might be fun. You know, actually, that does make sense because we could be like, how well does this handle this moral dilemma that's set up? That'd be a good way to tier rank them. Yeah. Let's see. So, I guess self-promotion. Podcast will be on Monday, and then I will have another solo stream a week from Saturday. Well, yeah, a week from today. Will be my next solo stream. And then on the podcast, we're talking about the new Naked Gun, which we both just saw. And then it was pretty funny, to be honest. But what else? Top Secret, just because we're talking about Naked Gun and Val Kilmer passed recently. So I want to talk about that because I love that movie. And then Nobody, which is fun. So that'll be on the podcast on Monday. Lindsay, anything you want to promote?
Wait, what's Nobody? Oh, wait, no, that's the
Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited for Nobody too. I love the first one. Like that, I am pumped for that. I don't really have anything on the docket right now. I do need to start making content. I just keep letting myself getting distracted by this weird year I'm having. But sooner or later, I start having stuff. I've actually been wanting to ask you, would you be okay if I took some of these and like chopped them up into like little smaller things that we could post?
I do that fairly often. Yeah. If you can think of a fun segment, and like I've done that occasionally, even with this stream, where it's like, oh, I think that's a cool moment. Let's cut it into a segment. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, cool.
And
I always like to just make sure before I go and just
admission. It is easy content too. It's like you just go over it, see if there's any clips you want to add, and post it. I
am cool. I don't have a channel. I've been considering maybe like at some point making like a music reviewing channel because I'd love to just blabber about that for a while. But as of currently, I don't have anything. Tune in for Star Trek.
Shit, yeah, Cogender. I have Dear Doctor on the list, but I don't have Cogender, and you're absolutely right. That belongs on the list. And that one also features an Archer moment that pisses me off no end, where I feel like Trip is awesome in that episode, and Archer's such a piece of shit. We'll get into it next stream, but oh my god, Cogender!
I can't wait. That sounds fun.
I
don't know that one off the top of my head. That sounds great.
Well, dude, there's going to be Enterprise episodes that I love on that list, and Enterprise episodes that piss me off no end. But yes, so the next Star Trek stream, morally ambiguous episodes based around the idea of Tuvix. But I kind of want to show it to you. There's the Enterprise episode that is kind of like Tuvix but done better, and I kind of want to show that one to you. Maybe we'll do that later.
I guess I don't know. Actual plug for me.
Yeah,
I have a song that's out on streaming services. Basically, all of them. I think it's on like a lot of ones. I didn't like set up where it was, but I've looked it up, and it's on like a bunch of places I've never even heard of.
Yeah,
it is Pill Bottles and Polaroids by the Free AM Confessions, featuring NC and Aisling Apparatus, which is me. If you couldn't tell, it's me.
I didn't know you had a band name, Aisling Apparatus.
That's not a band name.
Well, I guess what would the name?
Stage name.
Stage name. Yes,
I do have a stage name.
Very fancy. And I guess I'm Bob Apparatus.
I don't think
I'll have to check it out though. I'd love to hear your music.
Yeah. It's a cool song. I highly recommend checking it out. It's a couple minutes long.
That's so cool.
So yeah, check it out.
Oh yeah.
So guys, party on and be excellent to each other.